Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be big box store plant shopping at Walmart off of Custer Road on Highway 121 in Frisco, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel with the notification bell on for daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. So today is the holiday weekend, and I just wanted to take some time to check out mostly the outdoor section of this particular Walmart. I visited this Walmart a couple of times, and unfortunately the indoor tropical section has room to be desired, to say the least, or at least to say it in the polite terms. So I just really wanted to spend a little bit of time to take a look at what outdoor plants that they have at this Walmart. You know, Walmart has been giving out some great outdoor plants, and I know a lot of our plant foldies are more so into the indoor tropical plants, the aroids, the philodendrons, but I love all plants, and I wanted to highlight a couple of these outdoor plants. So if you're into gardening and, you know, finding cost-effective, inexpensive plants for the outdoors and your outdoor escapes, check this out. And you can see here we've got a bunch of mandevilla flowers. So mandevilla flowers are very common to find at a big box store like Walmart. Notice how they have different types of blooms. I love the yellow blooms right over here. And notice how mandevilla flowers can actually harden and get a little bit woody. You can see that this one has kind of lost its leaves. So what I've noticed about mandevilla flowers is that they are very thirsty plants. So if you allow them to dry too much, they actually, I guess their health just really declines. It's like with a lot of plants, but especially with mandevilla flowers. And you can see right over here, we've got some dark foliage plants. If you have been following my plant shopping videos, you know that I love dark foliage plants, purples, blacks, browns, all of those colors on the leaves, and even the blooms are awesome. Love that as well. Now this is more so an outdoor plant. You definitely can't really grow coral bells indoors. I would just feel like they would be really spider mite prone. They've got very velvety leaves, and for some reason velvety plants tend to be a little bit more spider mite prone. But as you can see here, this outdoor section for Walmart, this Walmart isn't as large as some of the ones I visited in the past, especially the one out in Rockwall, Texas. If you haven't had a chance, that is probably the #1 Walmart outdoor and indoor section I've ever seen in the state of Texas. So definitely check that video out on the Rockwall one. But you can see here they've got some Island Bloom tropicals by Costa Farms. These are for $5.84. This is a cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. And as I pan over here, we've got a bunch of alocasias here. Now, I don't know specifically what this alocasia plant ID is. I do know that I ended up buying this a little while back. I repotted it in a larger 6.5-inch planter, and it's actually doing very well. I am growing it outside. And with alocasias, everybody does mention that alocasias tend to be a little bit more on the finicky side in terms of just how challenging the plant is to grow indoors. I just think that alocasias are spider mite magnets, and that's what really makes them a little bit more challenging. But if you grow them outside, they do very well in like bright indirect light, just, you know, somewhere on like a patio, and they do very well. And I think it's because they have natural predators that can get rid of the spider mites. And then I use a garden hose to hose them down, so they've always got that like ambient humidity. But you can see for $5.84 they've got a bunch of these white bird of paradise. We've got a bunch of cordyline tea plants. Now this one is another type of cordyline tea plant that I do find interesting. So I love cordyline plants. This one has more of like a pink stem and just green foliage as compared to like the maroon or burgundy type of cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. I don't know exactly what this plant ID is for the cordyline plant. I do love collecting cordyline plants. So far, I've gotten 2 types of cordyline plants. I've got the Hawaiian cordyline plant as well as the pinstripe cordyline plant, which is a pretty rare one that I found at Home Depot. And so whenever you go big box store plant shopping, never ever rule out that you will find an interesting plant. Like I was not expecting that, as well as I wasn't really expecting to see another variety of cordyline tea plant here. Now these are the ones that you typically see. I do find this one very attractive. Look at how beautiful that that pink tone is. The only problem with cordyline tea plants, and I've you know mentioned this in pretty much every single video when I feature this plant, is it's very challenging to grow them indoors. Typically a cordyline plant has to be grown outdoors because they're just very spider mite prone when grown indoors. Now they do have some more of the compact varieties that you could potentially grow indoors. If I do find one, I will most likely get it just because I do love the look of the plant. I love the coloration. And you can see over here white mandevilla flowers right here. These I believe are for $24.47, those hanging baskets. And as I pan over here, it is a cloudy day in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at. I did want to pan over and show you guys all of the plants that this particular Walmart has. And you know, if you're going to ask my opinion on Walmart, I would say Walmart is probably the most cost-effective, inexpensive plant pricing you can get for outdoors. Like, I'm almost tempted to buy a third variegated ajuga plant. Now this is for $4.37. This one is already trailing, and for an ajuga plant, look at how beautiful the variegation is. You've got that lavender color, pastel purple, you've got some pinks, and you can see that it is actually starting to trail. So whenever I think about plants like this, ground cover plants that are really meant for outdoors, I think about some of the hanging baskets like Costa Farms Trendy Tropicals, or just Costa Farms Exotic Angel hanging baskets are. I would just think that they would feature like an ajuga plant. Now this plant has a variety of lighting conditions it can grow, and you can see how healthy these roots are. This can grow in shade or full sun. Currently, I am growing mine in full sun, and you would think that it would burn, but it is not burning now. It may change in the summertime when it gets extremely hot, 100+ degree weather, but you can see how vigorous of a growth is for this variegated ajuga plant. Now with variegated ajuga plants, or even ajuga plants in general, they are more of an invasive type species. I mean, if you look at how the roots are very root bound in this plant, it is a fast growing plant, so you have to make caution on where you plant the plant if you don't want it to take over your lawn. And then here is another ground cover that I'm thinking about doing as another house plant. This one is an Asiatic jasmine plant, just a regular green variety. The one I would get, and this one is only for $4.37, the one I would actually get would be the Asiatic jasmine tricolor. It has like a beautiful variegation, and this is another plant that easily trails, so you can grow that in a hanging basket. And then over here we've got a succulent type of ground cover. This one is a sun rose. So this is ground cover for $4.37 by Garden Expert by Walmart. I love the look of this plant as well. And what I love about it is it actually blooms. So I would think that this particular plant would need to be in full sun, considering it looks like a succulent. So plant foldies. And if you are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Let me know if this is a plant that does need to be grown outdoor. I mean, obviously it's going to be grown outdoors, but if it needs to be grown out in full sun. So we will definitely check that out. And then I just want to pan over here and just show you what other plants that they have. Here's some canna lilies. Now these canna lilies are perennials. So for those that don't know what perennials are plants that you can grow in the landscape, and depending on your grow zone, my grow zone is 8B, North Dallas is 8B, and it could become a perennial. And a perennial is basically a plant that will go through a whole growing cycle, die off in the winter, and then come back in the spring or late summer. So those are plants that you definitely want to put in your landscape, because then, number one, a perennial is more cost effective in a sense that you don't have to keep buying the same annual plant to grow year after year. And number two, they become more of a permanent plant because they make a home in your landscape and it just continues to spread and grow. So like here is another beautiful fern right over here. This is another perennial. So it depends on your grow zones. I do like that it has a very nice delicate texture to the foliage, and then you can see that these are more ground covers. Speaking of ground covers, we've got some vinca vines right here. So I've got a more highly variegated vinca vine than this. This is for $4.37. But look at how it just vines and trails. This would make a beautiful hanging basket plant. Now I got the one off in Plants and Planters, another local plant nursery in Richardson, Texas. There was even a more highly variegated one. It's doing very well for me in its container. So I have been thinking and looking at these different types of plants. Like this would be an awesome, more unconventional type of house plant if you were to grow plants, these outdoor plants indoors. I'm starting to really look at the different types of ground covers that can become like trailing plants and hanging basket type plants. So we'll see what I come up with. I do love the variegated ajuga. This one right here is some type of ornamental grass right here for $4.37. It almost gives me that spider plant vibe about it. Look at how beautiful the variegation is. Now, I don't know too much about the plant care tips. I would assume this plant may need to be more so in partial shade, morning sun, but please give me any insights you have. And that's the thing I love about our plant folding community. For those that continue to just go to my live premiere chats at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, although I would say this past week has been extremely busy, I do appreciate that you guys continue to support me, continue to interact with each other, continue to just grow the channel. And that's the reason why whenever I'm at a live premiere chat, or just whenever you're just like watching my videos, the fact that you hit the like button for my videos, that is the biggest support. And I've seen a lot of people come out and really just support my channel by hitting the like button. The reason why you want to hit the like button for my YouTube channel, and especially for my videos, is YouTube will push it to more plant lovers like yourself and me, and you know, that makes it more fun. Currently we are about to be close to 10,000 subscribers, so it's really exciting that I have been doing YouTube plant shopping videos for the last 5 months, and our channel has really grown, and that's due to y'all's engagement. So whenever you hit the like button, leave comments in the comment section, not just in the chat, and you know, feel free to just keep leaving comments, multiple comments. I love that. I love to interact with you guys. You can ask me a lot of questions, and I also love to hear your feedback. You know, as long as it's in a constructive, positive feedback, I am all for it. I do listen. I do read every single comment. But let me get off of my my rambling and actually talk about the plants. But look at this forest of, you know, different types of ferns. All this greenery is amazing. And you know, even though it is a cloudy day, just the mere fact that I'm able to walk around, look at these plants, provide company for all of you guys, all of us, you know, that's the thing. If you are a plant foldie, you'll never be alone, in a sense that you have friends, whether it's virtual or not, that have the same types of thought process, same type of passion you have about plants. Like right here, beautiful banana plant. This is a red banana plant. You know, my family is from the Philippines, and I see a lot of banana plants just all over, just growing wildly. And it's just interesting that whenever you go to different parts of the world, certain plants are just more readily available. They have better growing conditions in certain environments. I know that banana plants in the Philippines, they just grow like weeds. They're just everywhere. Now, a plant that I do love, that I would love to put in my landscape, would be some gardenias as well as azaleas. Both are flowering shrubs. Both require more acidic soil. You know, I always tell people to make your soil a little bit more acidic. You can actually use coffee grounds and just sprinkle them and mix them into your soil, and it really does help with the acidic levels. And then over here, we've got some oleander. So these flowers bloom different types of flowers. Oleander needs to be grown in full sun. I will say oleanders, with caution, you need to be careful, because that is a very toxic plant. Like, you don't want to ingest the leaves. You don't want your pets to be around it. You don't want small children playing with that. It is a very toxic plant. And I know you plant foldies want to see some of these succulents and cactus. I have just really not forced myself to learn about these plant IDs. I just typically show you guys these cactus and just like label it as a sorted cactus if I'm going to do the plant IDs. Beautiful looking cactus right here, or succulent. The only thing I know about succulents is you do need to give it a lot of bright light. Maybe even full sun, although I've noticed that I've ended up killing my aeonium because I was top watering it. So you really don't want to water. Number one, you don't really want to overwater your succulents. Like, they prefer to be on the drier side. And number two, you don't want to really get their leaves or the foliage wet, especially if they stay wet for a long time. That can really just rot them. So that's what happened to my aeonium kiwi. I am a little bit disappointed, but you know what? That is part of plant parenthood, plant keeping, is you end up maybe making mistakes, but you know, as long as you learn from your mistakes and really recognize that this is what you did, and hopefully learn from it and then move forward, then it's okay. You know, that is the disappointing part, but you know, plant keeping is not every single plant is going to grow well in your care. It may take a couple of attempts to do it. And honestly, some plants are just not meant for you to grow. Like for me, I love me some Hydra Helix. And for those that are new to my channel, I call the English ivy, which is the correct way to say it, Hydra Helix. Hydra helix. So it's just an inside joke. So hopefully I don't scare you, but you know, that is a plant that I love. I talk about it in every single video, unless it's literally a nursery or a big boxer that does not have an English ivy. But that's one plant that I have attempted to grow 14 times, and I have killed 14 different types of English ivies. But I may end up just revisiting it. I mean, we'll see. But what I do know is that if a plant is something that is challenging, you just have to kind of reassess whether it's your lighting conditions, the time you put into your plants, the growth pattern, just all of that is just a really interesting way to kind of assess what is really, what really works for you. Like coleus plants, I like coleus plants. I love coleus plants. I'm obsessed with coleus plants. I am addicted with coleus plants, and I'm pretty sure most people may end up just getting tired of me talking about coleus plants. But again, this is my my plant channel, and I always told myself that I would stay authentic to the things that I'm interested in, the things that I want to put out there on social media, and that's one thing. I just love coleus plants, and I just think that coleus plants are a very underrated plant. I mean, these ones are for $8.78. You already know I have this coleus plant because every time I go to a store, whether it's a big box store, grocery store, plant pop-up, if they have another unique version of a coleus plant, I will definitely pick it up, buy it, and make sure that I grow it. What I like about coleus plants is I never really like explore the different varieties and also the different types of growing that you can do for coleus plants. Like I really didn't think you can grow coleus plants indoors. They are versatile. There are some coleus plants that are sun coleus, which means they can grow outdoors in full sun. What really got me into coleus plants is the colors, but also the potential to get free plants. And what I mean by free plants is coleus are probably the most easy plant to propagate from a cutting. Like literally you can cut, even if it's not like a full node, you can stick it in water in literally 3 to 4 days. There is water, roots, or better yet, actually I'm starting to just bypass even doing water propagation for coleus. Like I literally just stick them in soil, make sure that you keep the soil wet, and they will root. And I've done that. I have probably multiplied about 50 cuttings so far of different types of coleus plants. This one right here is a lantana. This one's the bandana lantana. This is a yellow one for $8.78. I actually want to grow some lantana, maybe a couple of varieties out in my outdoor landscape in my front yard. I do have like more of like a rock Japanese garden, but you know, with 100+ degree weather that I get out in North Dallas, I know last year we literally had about 60 to 90 days of no rain and 100+ degree weather. I have to be really cognizant about what type of plants that I put in my space. You know, lantana are pretty drought tolerant. They love the sun, they love the heat, they're very vigorous growers, they spread, and they're perennial. So there are so many check boxes that make that plant more suitable for my my environment. Now it's probably different for everybody else, but this one is a very consistent plant. Like I remember planting some actually in my backyard, and they are really starting to mound and spread, and it's just an amazing look for the plant. So I love that a lot. And I only ended up buying these lantanas actually at a local plant nursery chain called Callaway's. You already know I love Callaway's Nursery. I have a whole playlist actually of Callaway's Nursery. So again, you know, plant foldies, especially if you just want to binge some of my plant videos, please check out the plant playlist. I know that I will be taking a trip to the Philippines late June, and I will be there for about 18 days. I do intend to kind of just give you guys marathon compilation videos of some of my my plant shopping videos, just because I don't know if I can necessarily make all of that content to be able to schedule it out. It is a little bit more of a challenge for me to already produce, you know, 1 hour plant shopping videos on a daily basis. Some days I may miss it, but just know that I do attempt to do that. But I also don't want to keep you guys hanging. I do, you know, want to go on vacation. So I figured maybe compilation videos of some of the videos y'all have seen. They are going to be 3 hours long. So my thought process is to have those plant shopping videos to where you can have a hangout for 3 hours to just, you know, go in and out of the chat and really talk to each other. I do intend to get lots of beautiful plant content though in the Philippines. And speaking of beautiful, look at this coleus plant. I don't necessarily have this coleus plant. I've seen it at Walmart, and these ones are pretty full and lush. So I will be buying this. These are, I believe, for $17.97. I mean, I love the pink varieties. I think I'm going to end up getting this one. This one seems to be the most full coleus plant. Now, you know, to go back on coleus plants, if you are on Instagram, and if you are on Instagram, number one, please, please, please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram name is @growfold. You can actually send me direct messages. I check my Instagram quite often throughout the day. I post other types of content for plants on that. So that's another venue that you can check some more of that out. But there are a bunch of European coleus plant lovers. They call them palette leaf, and they have some amazing content there as well. Now, what's amazing is these container planters that they have this year, or at least since I've been looking at plants, I didn't realize that they have like pre-made containers. Love that cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. Look at these yellow mandevillas. You know, when you think about flowering plants, I love the white flowering plants. I think pink flowers are great. And I love red, but yellow is also a nice one. My mother's favorite color is yellow. And you can see here is another beautiful plant. This one is a purple basil. So I don't really grow a lot of like herbs, but what I do like about basil is they are great for cooking. They smell great. I should probably grow some herbs, but the thing about herbs is they do require a lot of light, or at least I feel like they do. So it's one of those plants that I am a little bit more hesitant about growing plants that just require a little bit more light, especially in an indoor space. That's the reason why I tend to go for plants that are a little bit more low light tolerant when growing indoors. This plant is definitely not low light tolerant. That is a vinca plant. That one is very drought tolerant and needs full sun. And then over here, you know, we see kalanchoe. These flowering kalanchoe are absolutely stunning. What I like about the kalanchoe too is it does have many different varieties of blooms, and they're fairly inexpensive. So if you're looking for a succulent, get yourself a kalanchoe. They have different varieties, but if you want the flowering ones, know that you have to give it a lot of light. Full sun could even be best for that. And you can see these are some beautiful cherry red bloom. And while this is a smaller outdoor section for Walmart, they have some quality plants, and I would recommend getting these outdoor plants at Walmart, and you'll save some money as well. Now, plant foldies, I did want to go ahead and show you this little quick unboxing. I was really surprised and super excited to get these plants from Planting with Pete. He's got an amazing YouTube channel, so if you haven't checked it out already, check it out. But I ended up getting a message from him, and we had talked about doing a plant trade. I didn't realize that he would send these plants out directly, so I'm so excited. I was offered a Gabby, and he said that he was going to chop it up, but I didn't realize that he was going to put in another plant. So like, thank you so much, Pete, for including this. This looks like a variegated Marantha. I actually intended to buy one of these, but as you can see right here, he has really taken the time to pack these plants safely, and you can see that they are looking super healthy. And I can't believe that he got me some Gabby. I think he got this from his mother plant Gabby that was growing up like a pole, and you can see right here, oh my goodness, and it's in sphagnum moss. So I'm thinking he may have separated it, but what I intend to do, and that's what I did, is I went ahead and took the sphagnum off. I've got that in water. I'm going to probably grow that in water. And then what I'm going to do with these Gabby cuttings, or this Gabby, is it does have some roots, I believe, because they were attached to the sphagnum. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut these up into different nodes and water propagate them and make them more of like a full plant. So we'll see, but that is so exciting. Thank you so much. Your plants are coming to you, Pete. And then right now, I wanted to go ahead and take a little bit of time to show you a local plant shop. This is one that I've seen. This is the beautiful Callaway's Nursery that is located in Highway 121 off of Custer Road in, I believe, North Plano, Texas, but it really borders McKinney. As you can see here, Callaway's Nursery is a nursery of plant nurseries all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They've come in different varieties of sizes, but I will say, like even these trade Scanthia Nanook for 20% off, I will say that All Callaway's nurseries have pretty much the same plants. It just seems, you just have to look at the volume. This is one that I do like to shop at frequently as well. The one thing I will say is this one gets a lot of heavy traffic, so it is a bit of a challenge for these, for this particular Callaway's nursery to keep a lot of their plants in stock. As you notice that a lot of their shelves have already been bought out. One Callaway's nursery that I often visit is the one off of Prosper, Texas. They have the same plants but a smaller scale. It's not as big as this one, but you can still get the same types of plants. But you can see here beautiful Rex begonias. You've got to love the Rex begonias. I love the Rex begonias because they have those beautiful colors. The thing about Rex begonias that I'm also attracted to is the dark foliage. And you will always hear me talk about dark foliage plants. Dark foliage plants are just exciting to look at, in a sense that, look at that. That just looks like midnight. That just looks very elegant. I have been doing some Instagram reels. I've been doing some YouTube shorts. So if you haven't already, checked those out. I like to do compilation of videos of different types of color plants. Like I've been doing a lot of coleus plants, but I could totally do one on Rex begonia. Now these Rex begonia, I believe, are for $14.99, somewhere around that, but you can see that these are pretty full plants. Now the Rex begonias I bought at another local plant nursery called Nicholson Hardy, they're doing okay, but I would think that I'm probably gonna just buy like these larger begonias. Now, one person that I know that can grow begonias and is a super expert is my grandmother. Like literally, she can grow begonias like no other. She has been able to propagate begonias, whether it's a Rex begonia, an angel wing begonia, all of that. But as you can see here, look at how beautiful this begonia is right here. Now, I thought that every single Rex begonia had a name, but they have so many varieties, like literally hundreds of them. So that's the reason why they have just assorted Rex begonias. And then you can see here, we've got some more begonias. Those are wax begonia hanging baskets. Love that, but I prefer the one right over there where it's got darker foliage. We're gonna pass by a hibiscus, and we're gonna look at these zebra plants. So I always look at zebra plants, but the thing about zebra plants is they don't really get me to the point where I want to buy them. Like I always look at them. I don't know what it is about a zebra plant, why it doesn't appeal for me to actually pick one up and actually add it to my collection. I probably should get a zebra plant. Because look at the foliage, it does have some nice foliage right there. And as you can see over here, I also have grown to really appreciate bromeliads. And the reason why I like bromeliads is because bromeliads have such beautiful coloration. It's really exciting. These are only for $24.99. And I didn't realize that there are a lot of bromeliads actually at Callaway's. You can see that there are just several different types of varieties of bromeliads. This one I haven't really seen, and I do like how it has like a pastel look about its foliage, and even that pink bloom right there is absolutely stunning. There are just so many different varieties of bromeliads. I prefer these types of bromeliads that kind of give myself gives it like a bird's nest type shape. The other bromeliads I typically see at big box stores, I'm not as big of a fan of. So all of the ones with the nice coloration like this, especially on the foliage, or even this pink bloom is really nice. This is the bromeliad I actually have in my plant collection. This one, I was able to get a smaller version of it for only $2.45. Notice how that bromeliad has some water in the middle of its foliage. That's pretty interesting. I actually water my bromeliad not from the top, but also bottom water it instead, just because I really don't want to have water sitting like that. Not sure if that's really the best thing for bromeliads. I don't really want to harbor standing water just for like fungus gnats and whatnot, but you can see how beautiful that purple color is. All of the colors on these bromeliads really look like somebody spray painted these. They don't even look like real plants. And speaking of plants that have a lot of coloration, I did want to pan out to some of the outdoor plants here. This is one of my favorite plants. This is a variegated hibiscus called Tailwind. It has red blooms, but I am more interested in the variegation. Now, this particular hibiscus also takes full sun, so it's really interesting that, for a highly variegated plant like this, it doesn't really burn. It's one that I really want to buy. It's just that at the time, I believe it was like $69.99, so it was quite a pricey hibiscus, and it wasn't one that I really wanted to put out that money just yet, but it is a beautiful variegated hibiscus. The other variegated hibiscus I have that I actually bought from HEB, which is a grocery store, is called the variegated hibiscus salsa dancer. And then you can see they've got many container arrangements. So they've got some type of coleus plant with some lantana, a spider plant, and you can see that Callaway's actually makes these custom arrangements of planters, and they do have a sale going on right now with Memorial Day weekend happening. All of the plants are tax-free, and I believe on Monday these plants will be 30% off. You can see right here is a Croton Petra. This one is for $6.99. I have one Croton growing in my collection, and it is growing outside in full sun, and it's doing very well. And then you can see over here we've got a fern, some really large fern, and we've got a bunch of proven winter coleus plants. These are the Color Blaze series. Let's take a look at this one. This is the Color Blaze Golden Dreams. I already have this coleus plant as well. Beautiful plant. Love how it's got a very interesting texture about it. I love how it's got yellow foliage, and I believe this one can actually take more sun. It doesn't have to necessarily be in shade, and that's the thing I like about all of the proven winter coleus plants. They are all hybridized for the most part to be able to take sun. Now this one has an interesting shape to its colors. This one is Merlin's Magic. So this is another proven winners hybrid. I actually like these coleus as well. It has a different leaf texture, and you notice how it's got different coloration on it. It's got more dark foliage. I love the dark stems, and I did a feature on dark foliage plants. I will continue to make compilations of different plants, specifically, you know, dark foliage plants, coleus plants, neon color plants like this. This one looks similar to the coleus wasabi, but this is a Color Blaze lime thyme coleus. I like the look of it as well. I am going to buy this one just because all of the proven winter annuals right now at all Callaway's locations are 30% off. So I figured I'd go ahead and buy this. It's 30% off plus tax-free. So I'll be saving a little bit more money. And then you can see right here, this isn't a coleus plant, but I do like this purple Persian shield. I like how it does have more dark foliage here. My purple shield is a little bit larger. It's not as compact as this. So I might end up buying this one just because I want a smaller Persian shield. I do intend to try to grow this indoors just because I really love how purple this plant is, and it's got a very shiny texture to the leaves. And then over here's one of my favorite coleus plants. I would say this fishnet stockings coleus plant is one of my favorites because look at the coloration of this. I love the veining, that purple veining and red veining, and even the purple stems. There's just a lot of color going on with this one. Now, if you look at the different fishnet stockings, that one had very pronounced veining. This one doesn't. This one actually is the same plant, same coleus plant, but it has more of white texture, white cream on it. Now what's interesting is the pots here are not actually plastic pots, they're biodegradable. So I really like that, you know, Proven Winners is really pushing the envelope of like using less plastic containers just so that there's not as big of a carbon footprint if in case these plants don't make it. You know, a lot of the plants that you see at a big box store, it'll end up in the trash, and then there's all that plastic. And then over here, this is another eco grade zero plastic container by Proven Winners. This is the other one that you see often. This is the cherry brandy, I think that's what it's called. Another Color Blaze series, and this one can take full sun or a lot more sun than a typical coleus plant. And I just love how it's got a nice maroon tone about it. It is a beautiful plant. I love coleus plants. You already know I will be featuring a lot of coleus plants throughout this Callaway's tour. And you know, plant shopping during Memorial Day weekend, you get some really good sales. So I will try to get some more videos out. And then over here, we've got some caladiums. So this one is a Heart to Heart series, White Wonder. And I do love the caladiums. Now with caladiums, pretty much all caladiums need to be in shade or in you know, away from direct sun, otherwise they will burn. But look at how white that caladium is. It's beautiful. And then this is another Proven Winners, and you can see they are 30% off plus tax-free. So 38% off is what I will be saving today if I were to buy some Proven Winner annuals. And then over here, this is another Heart to Heart Chinook is what it's called, this caladium. Now, caladiums grow from bulbs, and one thing you have to worry about with caladiums is overwatering them. because if you overwater caladiums, you can actually rot the bulb, which will end up killing the plant. Caladiums are fairly easy. It is a plant that I would try to grow indoors. I know that a couple of plant foldies have mentioned they are growing them indoors. This one is a lemon bush heart-to-heart caladium. That's a really pretty looking caladium too. Notice how they have such different varieties of caladiums, and with caladiums they have hybridized it to where they have gotten different colors, different types of leaf shapes. And you know, I have to show you guys lantana. So like, this is the particular outdoor flower or flowering bush, however you want to call it, or ground cover. I would actually consider it a flowering ground cover that I think everybody should grow, especially if you have a southern garden, you know, a place where you get really hot weather. Lantanas, again, are fast growing. They're easy to grow. They're easy to propagate from rootings, actually, and they're perennial. They can grow in very hot conditions, and they definitely need to be in full sun. So a thing about one of my lantanas is it's in a little bit more of a shaded area. It doesn't get nearly as much sun, and that one is not as fast growing, nor is it really producing a lot of bloom. So light really influences lantanas. And as I pan over here, notice how large this Callaway's nursery is, specifically the outdoor section. I love how every Callaway's nursery is merchandised differently, but the one thing that's common of all Callaway's nurseries is that they are they've got some very beautiful plants, a great selection. And again, this is another variegated hibiscus that I just can't get over. I love the variegation. Now, I have gone broke just buying plants on a daily basis, almost, just because I do plant shopping videos daily. So if you made it this far into the video and you have not hit the subscribe button, please make sure you are hitting the subscribe button with the notification bell on. If you don't have the notification bell on, you may not get the updates, because sometimes I'll post polls, I'll post shorts videos, I'll premiere at an odd time. Sometimes I don't always make it to 7 p.m. But if you have the notification bell on, it should notify you when I do come up with a new video or some type of content for the YouTube channel. And you can see right here, these ones are for, I believe, $2.99, these starters of all of these pink caladiums. I like caladiums specifically because I do like the shade, but I also like the fact that there's a lot of caladiums that have pink. I love pink plants, and you can notice that this one right here has some more larger foliage. Not all caladiums can get large foliage, but it is so interesting to see. Here is a Coleus Flamethrower Habanero series. So these Flamethrower Coleus plants, they have different varieties of them. This one is one that can actually take full sun. So the Flamethrower series of Coleus plants can tolerate more full sun, or just more light in general. And you can see as I pass over, there is another container with that variegated hibiscus. Now this whole container can be bought for $549.99. I suppose if you already have that beautiful container, that's already a pretty expensive container, plus all of these plants already mixed in. The only thing I would say is you really want to make sure that if you have a mixed container of plants, all of the plants have the same lighting conditions and care conditions, because like, you don't want to put like caladiums with that variegated hibiscus tailwind, because that hibiscus plants needs full sun. Same thing with this dahlia right here. This takes full sun as well. Dahlias are plants that I entertain to grow this year, but since it is already heading into the summer, I don't want to put too many things into my landscape. I may revisit that next year. I have only really started doing more plant shopping videos and just plant content in the last 5 months. You know, originally my videos were mostly origami ASMR, and so for those that are interested on why I call my channel Grow Fold, it was really to merge my plant love as well as my love for origami, especially folding origami paper cranes. One thing that I do on a daily basis is fold origami paper cranes. I can literally fold one. The fastest I've been able to do it is under 30 seconds. My goal is to be able to fold 1 million paper cranes. I would say that I've been folding paper cranes daily for the last 7 years. And then check this Coleus out. These are called Kong Coleus. Look at how large that leaf is. It is even larger than my hand. Beautiful Kong Coleus mosaic. Look at that color here. Now with all of these large leaf Coleus plants, They definitely cannot tolerate being in like direct light or full sun. Now they do need bright indirect light, preferably morning sun, in order to get all of that beautiful coloration. Concoleus, there are many different varieties of concoleus, and I'll try to show you a little bit more. We will see if what else we got over here, but you can see they've got some of these purple flowers right over here. Look at that. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but you can see that the variegated tailwind hibiscus has red blooms. I really love this plant. Like, I would even want to just get a cutting from this and propagate it. I really want that plant, but it is a little bit pricey. It is about $70, and I don't know if I really want to invest in that. So plant foldies, if you guys want to help me out with some funds, you are more than welcome to drop a super sticker during my live premiere chats. You know, I've seen some people tip me out before, not that you are expected or am I expecting, but if you ever want to donate to my plant obsession fund, to show some support, you can definitely do that. But honestly, the biggest support you can do for me is just to hit the like button on my video, and definitely leave as many comments as you want during in the comment section after you watch this video, or even during this video. You can do live timestamps on like what plants you like, give me some insights, all of that. I love video engagement, and that's the reason why I really want to see our plant folding community grow. I've seen some people discover my videos in the last couple of weeks from other countries like Jamaica. I really love that. So feel free to share my videos if you have any social medias with any plant video Facebook groups or anything like that nature. I would love that a lot. And you can see here, I am drawn to ajuga plants. So these are the variegated ajuga plants, but notice how these are not as pink and like purple as some of the ones that I just showed you earlier in the video at Walmart. So, you know, big box store plant shopping videos, as well as Callaway nursery plant shopping videos, I like to merge both. So you can kind of see, especially if you are a local plant foldie or somebody that lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, these are places that are very accessible to you. And so I hope that my locals that live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area will definitely hit the subscribe button. That way you are always in tune, because for the most part, I am literally in most of these North Dallas big box stores, Callaway's nurseries, local plant nurseries all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, to just kind of report what type of plants are coming into our market. Now, this is an interesting ajuga plant. This is a chocolate chip dip ajuga plant. This one has more narrow leaves. This is another plant that I would think would get darker foliage with just more light that it hits it. So I may consider buying this particular ajuga. And this golden Jenny is a beautiful plant. So I love these blue label plants. These are for $14.99. Look at how beautiful that neon color is. So, you know, when you talk about colors, dark foliage plants, and neon plants, those are some of my plants that I absolutely love. And then you can see, I'm going to pan over here and just kind of show you what they have. I'm not going to go into detail, but you can see that they've got a lot of outdoor landscaping plants. And then we've got several hanging baskets. Now, all of the hanging baskets are on sale for 30% off. So if you're into hanging baskets, you can definitely get them at Callaway's today, 30% off plus the tax-free. So if you are looking to save some money this weekend and you're not working, definitely hit any Callaway nursery to get those deals. And then you can see right over here, this is some type of variegated plant that I find interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily a ground cover. It is by Monrova, so it's a little bit more pricey. Monrova plants are a little bit more pricey, but I do like that variegation. I am always on the lookout for different types of ground covers. You know, I've mentioned this earlier in the video, but ground cover plants that are grown outside could potentially be indoor plants that you can have trail or grow in a hanging basket. And speaking of plants, so like I really did dabble on potentially trying to grow hostas indoors. I need to do a little bit more research, but most people say that that's not the best plant to grow indoors. Like, I love this fire and ice hosta. Look at that variegation. It's $16.99. Now, I could potentially grow hostas in my space. I have some shade, and they are perennials for my grow zone, which is 8B. I love that green on green variegation. You've got cream variegation. You've got neon color type hostas, and you can see they do get large. And I've seen them come back year after year from some of my friends that have grown them in this area. So I think that's super cool. And then obviously we're going to be looking at everybody's favorite, and that is the Hydra Helix. Now these Hedera helix, which is the correct way to say it, or English ivy, this is just a typical one. This one is for $2.49. And then we've got some Swedish ivy right here. I have the Swedish ivy, the white edge one that has white variegation, but you know, Swedish ivy are so easy. They are very quick growers. They prefer to be more in like shaded areas as compared to like full sun or anything. I don't think that's the best place to put them. I have two different types of Swedish ivy. I have the white edge one as well as the guacamole one, which is more of the green on green variegation. I actually found that Swedish ivy at HEB, which is a grocery store in Texas only, that I typically find my plants. But you can see how full this Callaway's nursery is. And whenever I really want to do an in-depth tour of plants, just to show you plants, I will go to a Callaway's nursery and show you. Like here is another trailing Hedera helix. Love this Hedera helix English ivy. And you know, when you talk about English ivy, these plants are pretty invasive if they are in the you know, like areas that are a little bit cooler and more humidity. They definitely will crawl up like walls on buildings and just become a whole wall of like English ivy. That's the thing about English ivy. They are a little bit more invasive outdoors. Now, when you grow them indoors, they're just basically a spider mite magnet that will eventually just decline in its health. Like, I just don't think that long-term English ivy can grow. However, my best friend Isaac, who also has a YouTube channel, his YouTube channel is Hi JR Sings. He does mostly pageant content, but he does have a Hedera helix English ivy, and his has been growing, and he actually neglects it. So I don't know, maybe some plants choose to perform better for others or plant keepers. I'm not 100% sure, but as you can see here, Callaway's also host a bunch of my favorite plants, and that would be Acer palmatum or Japanese maples. All of those were large specimen Japanese maples. Now these are Japanese maples that are going to range from like $1,800 to $2,000+. And the reason why they're a little bit more pricey is Japanese maples are very slow growing trees. I do want to show you another type of planter I like to use, and it's literally just the classic terracotta planters. There's something very traditional but very classy about terracotta planters. Now for terracotta planters, I do recommend it for people who are overwaterers, because if you put a plant in terracotta, it tends to dry the soil up a little bit faster because it actually pulls out the moisture. So if you are an overwaterer, terracotta planters are great for you. Now for me, I need plastic planters because I don't really water my plants as much as I should. Now I do want to show you this. This is an interesting heart-shaped leaf type of plant. Obviously this is meant to be grown outdoors. I do like the color of it. That gray silvery tone is very nice. So this again is part of the Blue Label series of plants. And what else do we have here? It looks like they just got done watering these plants, and that's the thing about local plant nursery shopping. Know that all of the plants that you will typically find at a local plant nursery will be healthier, and you'll be able to get a little bit more of the care tips from the staff. I don't want to sound like I am bashing big boxers, because I am an advocate for big box store plants. I feel like you will get some really cost-effective pricing. But if you're looking for a particular plant that you really want to ensure that the health is there, the selection is there, I would always recommend going to a local plant nursery. You know, I did a feature last night for Peta's Planters, which is a local plant shop in Dallas, Texas. It's one of my favorite places to go shopping, not only because even though it is a small business, I love just getting to know the owners. They really have a great story. They are kind people. So if you ever get a chance, definitely take a look at Peta's Planters. I have 2 videos so far, but I told Lupita, who is the owner, that she needs to message me anytime to get a restock, because I would love to continue to film her amazing plant shop. But going back to this Callaway's, you notice how Callaway's has a variety of different plants, whether it's outdoor plants, tropical plants, landscape landscaping plants, trees, and succulents. So I am trying to diversify the amount of plants that I show, whether it's succulents or cactus. Like this one right here is super cool. Love the color of this, just that ghostly gray, almost light blue color. That pastel look is beautiful. And I just don't know a lot about succulents. It would be something that I would need to really do research on before I can try to grow succulents. And that's the thing. Like this one right here, I know about hen and chick succulents. This one actually produces a lot of babies, and let me show you what I'm talking about. Notice how it has a lot of baby shoots. You can literally nip those off, cut them off, stick it on top of soil, spray, mist it, and it will just root itself. Super easy. And that's the thing I like about succulents, is that they are easy to propagate. I'm just surprised that I have not gotten all obsessed about, succulents. I even like that they have different pinks and different types of colors. So I just have to take a look at it. And you can see right here, this is another crassula. I don't know if this is the golem. I'm still learning a lot about my jade plants. So I have a variegated jade bonsai that I made from pre-bonsai jade plants that I bought at Callaway's. It's doing extremely well, and you can see over here, this is a nice bronze copper look of a succulent, and you can see that right over there, that was an aloe vera plant. And they've just got different types of succulents. Now this is an Aeonium black rose starter planter. Beautiful. Look at that. Again, I love dark foliage plants. This one is only for $3.99, but this is an Aeonium that could grow pretty quickly as well, and they can actually get fairly large. And then I want to show you another dark succulent here. Now this one is a little bit pricey for $39.99. So this is $40 for this succulent. I wouldn't buy it for that price, and that's because maybe I'm just not as aware of what type of succulent that is. That might actually be a rare or uncommon succulent, but that's the thing. Whenever I do plant shopping videos, sometimes I will go to a big box store and there will be like a plant that's like uncommon or rare, and people will just walk by it as if it wasn't anything. And here I am just getting super excited. I remember going to like Kroger, where they had a bunch of those Monstera Thai constellations, and people would just walk by it. And then eventually it got, I'm sure that the plant community in the Dallas-Fort Worth area found out about those $29.99 Monstera Thai constellations and literally wiped them out. I have yet to find some Monstera Thai constellations at Walmart. I really do want to find a large Monstera Thai constellation, so we'll see. But I do want to do another Monstera Thai constellation giveaway, so please stay tuned for that. I am shipping out that Monstera Thai constellation to the winner this week. I wanted to hold off until I can actually take the time to pack plants. It's the same thing with planting with Pete's plants. I am going to just ship it out on Tuesday, which is typically my day off. I didn't want to go ship it this weekend because of the holiday. I don't want plants kind of just sitting there, and hopefully the weather will still be like an overcast because it has gone a little bit hot at Texas. And here is another purple version of the hen and chick succulent. And then you can see right over here, they've got another succulent. This is an Echeveria for I think $3.99. So these are starter succulents. You can make a succulent arrangement. If I am going to grow succulents, I definitely want to collect more of the Aeonium succulents. The Aeonium Pink Witch is a fabulous succulent. It is a little bit more pricey. I do want to buy it from an Etsy seller, and hopefully I'll get to that. But I think I'm going to wait to buy those types of plants until I come back from my vacation in the Philippines. It's about 34 days before I fly out. I'm super excited because I cannot wait to show all of those tropical plants, those aroids, and even try to go visit a couple of plant shops in the Philippines. I wish I'd be able to take some of those plants back to the US, but obviously I will not be able to. So I will just make lots of content. I am going to miss being able to get on those live premiere chats. It is a different time zone. I think the Philippines is ahead by 17 hours. So we're going to see. And that's the reason why if you guys are seeing videos that are scheduled to premiere like at the end of June, those are my compilation videos. And I really hope you guys will still engage and watch some of those past episodes. Really, I just want to have a long 3-hour video for you guys to really enjoy and have like a nice chat hangout spot. But you can see here this particular Callaway's has so many different types of caladiums, and notice how there's just a sea of caladiums, like tables and tables of caladiums. I noticed that most of the caladiums have such beautiful colors, and it's interesting that these plants are not really that expensive. Like this caladium right here is for $2.99. That is a nice plant that you can make into just a nice house plant as well. Now, all of these caladiums, if you're going to grow them outdoors, they definitely need to be in more of a shaded area. You don't really want to overwater them. They do go dormant though in the winter. I haven't really heard of any caladiums that have like been able to stay active in the colder months. Now, maybe if you give it a lot of heat and you provide a grow light, it might actually do. It may not go dormant, but for the most part, people say that you should just cut back your caladiums, let them dry out, let the bulbs dry out, and then let them come wake back up in the late spring, early summer. You know, caladium bulbs typically start to actually sprout when the weather is warmer. That's what I'm trying to say. But you can see red caladiums, pink caladiums, white caladiums. So we're just gonna walk by and take a look at all of these. Here is another dark Kong coleus. This one has a little bit more maroon burgundy colors. Look at the veining on the undersides of the leaves. I have a couple of coleus Kong plants, but I may end up getting some more. The only thing about Kong coleus is that their leaves do get really large. I want to be able to grow some of these coleus plants over the winter indoors, so I don't know if that would actually last very well in an indoor section, but we'll see. And then let's see what else we have. Let's see what else. We've got more of this coleus. This is a coleus wasabi for $6.99. I really love that as well. And what I like about the coleus wasabi is it's got that neon color, but it also can take a lot of sun, like full sun, and it will do fine. It is a large growing coleus plant. I have quite a bit of them, and I was actually able to get some on clearance at Walmart for $2.50. So I planted 2 stalks. I plan on cutting it back though to get some more thicker growth. And then over here are some pentas flowers. These are cluster flowers that I really like as well. Look at those pink blooms. They almost look like kalanchoe flowers. I would be mistaken for a kalanchoe if I didn't look at closely the leaves. And you can see we've just got a lot of different types of flowers. Look at that crane right over here. It reminds me of my origami paper cranes. And you know, plant foldies, if you really go through some of my really old videos, I have hundreds, literally hundreds of origami paper crane ASMR videos, so check those out. I am encouraging people to really look at some of my plant playlists in my YouTube playlist. You would be able to binge some of those. If you're just wanting to relax and hear somebody talk about plants, definitely check out my playlist, and definitely check out this coleus plant. So I don't know what this particular coleus name is. I do love that it's just got very large neon color leaves. I would like to get this as well, although this one's a little bit pricey for $34.99. Right next to it though, looks like a coleus campfire. This one is only for $12.99. That is a huge plant for $12.99. And that's the thing about coleus plants. If you're looking for a plant that has a lot of variety, a lot of colors, and is inexpensive and easy to propagate, get yourself a coleus plant. You know, I talk about that in all of my videos. I've been able to influence a couple of plant foldies to get some, like one of my plant foldies, Alfred from Canada. So excited that you got some coleus plants and you were able to propagate a rooting in water and put it in soil. Please keep me updated on your coleus progress. And you can see here, this is a really nice New Guinea impatient. So this is a plant that definitely needs to be more in a shaded area. Impatiens typically need to be, unless it's a sun patient plant. And then you can see right here, this is a wedding train coleus plant. So this is more of a trailing coleus plant with like smaller foliage. I actually want to get one where I can grow it into a bonsai, so we'll see. And then this is a mix of wizard select coleus. So I don't know exactly what a wizard select coleus is. Obviously it's a different type of coleus. You know, you've got mainstream coleus, sun coleus, now you've got some wizard mixed coleus. So I do like that it's got red, orange, and yellow. And then this one right here is a coleus I don't have. This is a Spitfire coleus. It has more narrow leaves. I may get this today, so I know for a fact I don't have this, but I may not try to spend a lot of money today. There might be a couple of plants that I pick up. This is a plant though, you know, coleus are very accessible. They're easy to find, especially at Callaway's. So this is pretty much the majority of where my coleus plants have come from, is Callaway's Nursery. They just keep bringing in different varieties. And then you can even see right here, this is another Wizard Select mix. So they've got different types of coleus plants. I have all three of these varieties as well. The one on the very right, I have a huge hanging basket of that I've been able to take propagations from. And that's the thing, plant foldies. I want to be able to share some of my coleus propagations with you. I may do some more coleus giveaways or plant giveaways. So if you are not on Instagram and you want to go on Instagram, definitely check it out and see if you can be part of that plant giveaway. And then also, I just love interacting with you guys. I feel like Instagram is going to be the fastest way to get a message to me, and I just like that. And you know, I want to make sure that we have a community where plant foldies can just get together. I am working on Facebook. I don't have a current Facebook account, but I may need to go ahead and just create one for a, you know, the YouTube channel Growfold. So we'll see, but you can see right here more beautiful caladiums, and these are for $14.99. So these are the in and out caladiums, so you can grow them indoors, outdoors. I want to get more caladiums. There's so many varieties. Like, look at how beautiful the leaves are. The one at the very far back, I like that caladium as well. I like the red veinings of the caladiums, and you can see there's some more green, white ones, more red ones. So it really just depends on your aesthetic. I you know, think about some of these caladiums, and I think about, you know, maybe even getting one of those handmade planters at Peta's Planters. If you haven't checked out that video, check out Peta's Planters, beautiful plant shop in Dallas. And I have this is a trade Scanthia velvet. Mine has grown so much and has gotten pretty thick. I don't want it to trail. I actually want it to grow tall, so I may get stakes and just let it grow up. Beautiful plant. You know, some people consider it ground cover. I'm currently growing it outdoors, and you can see tax-free holiday. I'm so excited about that. And then we have some purple heart. So I have the variegated version of this, and to my surprise, when I got home, there was like an actual stake or not stalk that cut, like broke off. So I went ahead and chopped it up. I got about 6 cuttings, and I'm going to root it in water and make another plant. And then you can see right here, these are huge concoleus. Do you see how my hand, it's bigger than my hand? So you can see that there are so many sizes and colors on coleus plants. I know that I've shown you quite a bit of coleus plants today, but you can't really blame me, especially at Callaway's. There's just a lot to look at. And this is a concoleus that I might try to get. Again, you know, concoleus, I'm just curious to see what like a huge one would be. If you were to grow this in a landscape, I'm sure it can get really large, but I'm not sure how large they can get. And then over here, they've got some more plants right here. These are miniature sunflowers. The ones that this is called the Smiley. This one is a beautiful, cute sunflower. Now, obviously, the name itself, you need to make sure that you put this out in full sun. This is a flower or a plant that will not do in shaded areas. Sunflowers definitely need full sun. I love fuchsia plants as well. These fuchsia flowers are beautiful. Look at these blooms. They look like little bells and little trumpets. It's really nice. I love the purple, and then also the fuchsia color, the pinks on it. Beautiful plant. I've seen it a lot of big box stores offered as a hanging basket, and you can see we've got some more sunflowers here. So these are more of the container varieties of sunflowers. I have quite a bit of sunflower seeds, actually. I grew a bunch last year. I don't have any in my landscape, but they are beautiful. I find that the black or dark foliage sunflowers are something else. They're beautiful. And this is a Senecio angel wings. Beautiful plant as well. This is another plant that when you touch the leaves, they feel very velvety and soft. It doesn't even feel like a real plant, but obviously it is. Look at how gray and ghostly it looks. And then we have some straw flowers right here. And then we have a bunch of beautiful dark flowers, purples and lavenders. These are aster flowers right here, and this is for $12.99. Look at how beautiful that is. And that's the thing about Callaways, lots of diversity. So whenever you are looking for more diversity in the plant selection, I would always say there is more diversity at a local plant nursery versus a big box store. And that's why it's important for me to really just show you these plants. Like I have never seen this plant right here. I can't pronounce the name. This is for $12.99, but look at that underside on the leaves. It's got several layers of interest. Obviously the flowers, and the flowers are a unique shape. They've got clusters, plus the nice green foliage, plus the purple veining, and then the purple undersides. Many levels of leaf interest. And then I have this coleus as well. I love the dark foliage coleus. These are the Perla coleus series. I really like that just because it has some subtle veining. Now the coloration on this is actually a little bit better when you give it a little bit more bright light. Now this is one that doesn't take very well in full sun, but you can see even these flowers right here as I pan over. It's just absolutely stunning. These coleus are absolutely stunning as well. And the thing about it is, notice how this one is a little bit more full. It looks like there were, these might have been cut back a little bit because the leaves are a little bit smaller, but they're a little bit more full. And then notice these beautiful blooms. These are the kangaroo paws. And we're gonna walk over here. Plant folies, let me know what you think so far of some of these plants. Again, I want you guys to engage and leave some comments. This is another coleus I may have, but these are only for $12.99. These are super cool. I really like the green foliage right there, the dark stems. There's just a lot going on. And again, this is a very full coleus plant, very much not leggy at all. And that's another thing about coleus plants. It can get leggy, so the more you trim it back, the more bushy it will be. And look at this beautiful white caladium right over here. So I don't really know all of my caladium plant IDs, so that's something that I need to get a little bit more familiar with. But what I do know about caladiums is they just have beautiful foliage. It's another plant that is underrated. It's another plant that most people would not think to grow indoors, but they make great indoor plants, as well as these beautiful, look at these. These are some beautiful kangaroo paws. I first saw kangaroo paws actually at a big box store, Lowe specifically, but I didn't realize that they had more colors for kangaroo paws. I don't really know a lot about them. So for those that know about kangaroo paws and care tips, please leave that in the comments. And I'm gonna pan over here again and just show you some more of these coleus plants. These are the Perla coleus plants, and this one is also a Perla coleus plant. I actually don't have this one as well. I have one that looks similar, but look at how beautiful that that leaf is. It's just got green, and then the cream coloration in the middle of it is actually a beautiful plant. Again, coleus plants, I have started to really follow a lot of Instagram accounts on coleus plants, and I have been doing some more research. There are a couple of coleus YouTube channels. I may eventually do a more like niche version of a YouTube channel. I may create one of those eventually, but for now I am just excited to be able to show you guys like these different flowers. So I showed you a bunch of the purple and lavender flowers. Here's another beautiful one as well. I don't know a lot about this flower, but it is a beautiful one to take a look at, and you can see all of these beautiful sunflowers. Whenever I look at sunflower though, I think of a sunflower as just making anybody smile. It just has a way of lifting somebody's mood, and that's the thing about plants, plant foldies. Like every time I go look at a coleus plant, for instance, I get excited. I just get happy. There is a level of comfort that I get from plants. There's a lot of therapeutic benefits by just growing plants or even looking at plants. And I have been given feedback, positive feedback about how some people just literally may not always just watch my YouTube videos, but just listen to me talk. So if you guys like doing your chores or just hanging out and unwinding, I am so glad that I have become a vessel for your relaxation. And that's the reason why I push myself to do 1 hour plant shopping videos or just videos about plants. I don't have a script. The intent of a lot of my plant shopping videos or just videos that I post on YouTube is to be more organic, be more candid, and be less scripted. I think that that's what makes my videos a little bit more unique. I want to try to be as authentic as possible. And you can see here, these are what they call the flowering maples. So I have one of these. I have the red one and I have the orange one. I would love to get a variegated version of this. Now, this one was actually a plant that I would like to grow indoors. I was able to see another plant YouTuber, plant influencer, Harley G. She actually grows this indoors too. So this would be a plant that I would consider growing indoors. And you can see right next to it, there are a bunch of like spring cactus. These are for $14.99. Beautiful looking colors. Like I love the orange look on it. And then we've got some more different varieties of it. Now, I would like to grow those cactus because I did hear that they are fairly easy to grow. And I want to show you this right here again. Like all of these features of caladiums, look at that. That is beautiful. Can you imagine that being grown indoors as like a focal point just because it has so many colors? And I want to show you the spring cactus blooms when it's actually open. Look at how beautiful that flower is. Let me know in the comments if you are a fan of like spring cactus, Thanksgiving cactus, Christmas cactus. That's one thing that another cactus I would consider growing into my home just because of the blooms. And I want to pan over here and show you the sea of wax begonias. Love that. I love how it's just got that, fiery red color about it. And then you have mixtures of white, pinks, and reds. It's just really nice. And then we're going to go ahead and just pan over here and show you this really delicate looking bougainvillea. But these are all wax begonias for $1.99. You can grow those also indoors. They can take full sun as well. So now we're going to go walk back inside. And I'm going to show you some of these house plants or indoor tropical plants. So they've got a bunch of like indoor trees. These are Ficus benjaminas. That's the variegated form. Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf. Those two plants right here on the very left require a lot of light. So just make sure you are providing a lot of light. We've got a bunch of palms. They also require a lot of light. And all of these plants are, indoor trees. I like the look of it. I like that Ficus audrey right there in a tree form. And you can see that a fiddle fig leaf or Ficus lyrata, look at how large that is. And they've got some pothos as kind of like ground cover. That's quite interesting. And you can see just how beautiful this Ficus audrey is. I have one growing in my backyard actually. I grow it in full sun and it's doing very well. And you can see that they just have large foliage plants. And that's the thing about Callaways. Again, it is a plant nursery that just does very well. I love the fact that it is just amazing. And you can see that they have these large ZZ plants. Now, ZZ plants, one of the easiest plants to ever grow. Please buy yourself a ZZ plant if you're starting an indoor plant collection, or even if you are a professional or advanced person that grows like super rare aeroids. I still think you should add a ZZ plant. Like, who doesn't like common plants? Common plants are common because they're easy and they're readily available. And I am a big advocate when it comes to plants bringing you joy and not bringing you stress. Stress comes from plants that are a little bit more high maintenance. I'm not going to lie, calatheas stress me out. And that's the reason why I grow calatheas in water, because they're less stressful that way. Lots of beautiful Phalaenopsis orchids. And check this out, guys. Look at this beautiful variegated orchid, $24.99. I was able to find a variegated orchid, a smaller variety, at Kroger's and grocery stores, but I want to go ahead and pick up a Phalaenopsis orchid, the variegated form. These are pretty sought after. And actually $24.99 for a variegated orchid is not bad. What I like about it is after the orchid is done blooming, there's still quite a bit of interest through the variegated leaves. I've noticed that the only variegated orchid I've seen has those purple blooms. So I don't know if this is just a specific cultivar. So plant folies, let me know in the comments if it is a cultivar. Let me know if you would buy the variegated orchid. What other variegated orchids have you seen? Do you feel like the pricing for $24.99 is fair? Because all of these Phalaenopsis orchids are just everywhere. That's the thing that I will say about Phalaenopsis orchids. They're readily available year round. And you can see right over here, we've got a bunch of these beautiful water fixtures is what I'm trying to say. And then we've got a variegated Chiflera. I'd love to get a fountain like this in my backyard and grow like this Philodendron Rojo Congo. I think that's what it is, but this one is for $599. That fountain, that's pretty cool. And that is another easy to care for philodendron. Look at how large the leaves are. And then you can just see that these Phalaenopsis orchids are in full bloom right now. Look at that yellow one. Now with Phalaenopsis orchids, you want to grow these in a medium where they're just literally in orchid bark. Now I see that they're growing in sphagnum moss right now. Honestly, I wouldn't grow orchids in sphagnum moss because sphagnum moss holds moisture a little bit longer. Orchid roots are better off in a drier situation because their roots would actually rot. You never want to grow an orchid in soil. That would definitely kill it because of root rot, because most of the time orchids are what you call epiphytes. So they just literally cling onto like tree bark, things like that, and grow on something, and that's how they get their roots actually just get a lot of their water from the actual ambient moisture. But you can see, look at all of these different flowers. They've got many different faces, and we've got another sea of Monstera deliciosas. So here's the thing about Monstera deliciosas. What I like about Monstera deliciosas is that they are common, but they get very large. They're easy to take care of and readily available. And as I pan over here, this is just such a large Callaway's nursery. I know I have featured this nursery several times. Sometimes I've featured it where it was extremely full. I will say it's not as full indoors as it has been typically. I've noticed that they move some of these plants around, like a lot of their Hoyas got moved to this table right here to kind of condense things. But for my Hoya lovers, I'm going to go ahead and feature a couple of different Hoyas. So here are proven winner Hoyas. This is a variegated Hoya Wyetii, or what people would call a Quintiana. This is only for $9.99. Fair price for a Hoya. Look at how beautiful that is. It looks like it's sun stressed as well. It has that pink or red color. That's when you know that it's been given a lot of light. That's really the term on sun stressing a plant, when the plant starts to give you different colors. This one is a Hoya Sea Stones, and this one is also by proven winners. This is one that I will get to planting with Pete, in addition to some of the other plants he was looking at. You know, I was surprised that he wanted to do a plant trade, but I was able to get a Philodendron Heteroraceum Gabi. So I am so thankful, so excited. And you know, that's the cool thing about the plant community. Sometimes you'll be able to find a plant that is not as expensive because you've been able to make a connection with somebody who's willing to share a cutting, trade a plant, etc., etc. So as long as we maintain this positive community of plant lovers, I will continue to make these videos. You can see this one is a hanging basket of Hoya carnosa. This one isn't as variegated. I'm not sure if it's a crimson princess, but you know, Hoya plants, what's interesting is if you can get them to bloom. I have yet to get mine to bloom. For $19.99, this is a Hoya compacta, just a Hindu rope. It's not the variegated one. I do think that it is a little bit pricey for that size, but Hoya compacta, I would love to get that, but I'm afraid of getting mealy bugs, and mealy bugs just on a Hoya compacta would be very difficult to get rid of. Here is some Hoya publicatus on trellises for $29.99. That is not a bad price at all, and this one is definitely growing. Look at how some of their trailing has actually kind of tangled itself up. They're all friends now, but it's just interesting, the growth patterns of a Hoya. And then you can see right here another Hoya Wyetii, variegated Hoya Wyetii or Quintiana. That one's for $29.99. Here is a Hoya Crimson Queen for $29.99. Look at how beautiful that is. And so for all of the Hoya lovers, the Hoya heads, this one is for you. This one's a little bit sun stressed with that pink. Beautiful plants. I never really paid attention to Hoyas, but now I have actually gotten into them. I am afraid that I'm going to end up getting like a Hoya obsession, just kind of like Coleus. But the difference between Coleus and Hoya is Hoya are a little bit more expensive than Coleus plants. And then over here, we've got a Ficus elastica ruby. Now to get that ruby coloration, you want to make sure you are giving it more light. Otherwise, you're not going to get that like red tint on the leaves. And then this one is an interesting plant. It looks like like an oversized coffee plant. This is an alpine plant for $15.99 or $16 or $14.99, somewhere around there. Nice foliage. It's got some nice shine to it. Beautiful plant. I don't know a lot about it though, so just let me know in the comments if you have any idea of what the plant care tips are. And then we got some variegated Philodendron burley marks right here. This one is for $99 in a 6-inch planter. So I remember this plant being way more expensive like 3 to 4 years ago. It's still quite pricey though. I wouldn't pay that price. And the only reason why I'm not as into this particular philodendron is it is one that will revert very quickly. It's just very unstable in terms of its variegation. Like you can flood it with light and it could still turn green. Now a philodendron I would buy, this is for $19.99, is a philodendron Summer Glory. Look at that beautiful bronze look about the leaves. It's got a satin shine about it, and it is a plant that is fairly easy to grow. I don't think it's nearly as spider mite prone, and it's a fast grower. And then we just got more plants right over here. Now, I am tempted to buy both of these Cordyline tea plants because they're the compact version. Like this one I've seen before, but it's super cool. And this is only for $16.99. There's 3 of them. I love the pink edges of the leaves, the dark foliage as well. So it checks box, it does have both check box that I like for a plant. This one I would attempt to grow indoors just because it's a little bit more compact. So it'd be easier for me to spray it down in neem oil. I would think that this would need a little bit more light though grown indoors. I do like that, but I also like the more compact version of this Cordyline Hawaiian or Cordyline Kiwi. So I've gone to Home Depot and I've showed this in previous videos where this Cordyline Kiwi was extremely large. This one seems to be more of the compact type. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pick this one up since it is tax-free this weekend. And look at how beautiful that is. I mean, let me know in the comments if you would buy this Cordyline plant. I am definitely going to get this one today since it's not a bad price at all. It's a pretty healthy looking plant. And the thing about it is if this plant doesn't do well for me or I'm not satisfied with it, I can always return it at Callaway's. They do have a great garden rewards program. The funny thing is whenever I do like a return for a plant at Callaway's, I end up buying 3 or 4 more plants. So it's not like they ever lose money from me. It just gives me another reason to get another plant or 2 or 3. And then here is another Ficus elastica Taniki. Love the look of this one as well. It's got a beautiful variegation on it. That one's more of a highly variegated plant. And notice how Callaway's puts all of their same type of genus plants on a table. I like that a lot. This one is another type of ficus plant that I don't know too much about. What I do know is all of the plants that I'm grabbing right now, showing you all of these ficus plants like this fiddle fig leaf, they all need high light, consistency on just the watering. So you don't want to like not water it for a month and then water it. It really likes that schedule, and they also like to not be moved around a lot. So I do love aglaonemas. Aglaonemas are still in the top 3 on my plant collections. They used to be number 1, but this one is an aglaonema Romeo for $16.99. So they have the Juliet version, which looks exactly like this, but the Romeo is just got larger leaves. They're a little bit wider, whereas the Juliet is smaller and has more narrow leaves, but the pattern is still the same, that green on green variegation. And then we have a Monstera Thai Constellation for $499, a mature one that already has a couple of baby shoots coming from the lower nodes. But look at how beautiful and fenestrated these leaves are. I would say years back, 3 to 4 years ago, this would be in the thousands. So now you can buy like mature Monstera Thai Constellations for a better price. And if you want this aglaonema, this one is for $29.99. This is a beautiful aglaonema. It looks different, and you can see that it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 growth points, new babies that are coming out of the mother plant. And then this one looks different. I don't know what this aglaonema plant ID is. It's got more of a gray silvery tone about it. It's a beautiful plant as well. I love aglaonemas. I need to treat them a little bit better. Even though they are low maintenance plants, I literally will not water an aglaonema for a month when I need to just water it a little bit more than a month. They are a little bit drought tolerant, but again, whenever you're not giving the plants the best care, they become more susceptible to spider mites. Here is another Swedish ivy right here for $12.99, growing in a hanging basket. That's super cute. Love that neon color. And then I just want to pan over here again and show you these bromeliads. I love the colors of these bromeliads. Like this one specifically is highly variegated. It's one that I would definitely add to my collection. It's one that I am all about, and it's just quite interesting right here. Really like the look of that. Really love all of the colors that they have. And then chrysanthemums too. These are for $19.99. So like I haven't really done a lot of research of chrysanthemums. I never really paid attention to them until I started seeing some of the pink coloration. You know, they remind me of like a more colorful version of a bird's nest sansevieria or snake plant. But what a gorgeous looking plant nursery. Now, I know that the first part of this video was big box store. I hope that you guys have stuck around and actually looked at all of these plants. Because Callaway's Nursery, if you are visiting the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you love plants, definitely go to a Callaway's Nursery. You will not be disappointed. You'll be able to see all of these gorgeous plants. Even Proven Winners just provides 4 Callaway's. Like these ones are the hybrids of Fittonia. This one is Fittonia Broadcast. Look at how cool that color is on a Fittonia. And then this one too has smaller foliage. This one is Fittonia Nightly News. Look at how cool that is as well. It definitely is some news to me in terms of just the new hybrids that Proven Winners has. And then we've got some assorted Alocasia here. Now these ones are for $14.99, and then we obviously have Syngoniums. So Syngoniums is another easy to care for plant. They prefer bright indirect light. They can tolerate lower light conditions, but what happens is when you give it lower light conditions, they will be a little bit more leggy and not as full. You definitely don't want to underwater a Syngonium because they don't do as well if you let it dry out completely. So just, you know, a couple of tips from when, from my experiences. And then obviously with like Rex Begonia, you never want to get the tops of the leaves wet, nor do you want to get the stems or, you know, any of that wet, just because it will rot away. You want to bottom water Rex Begonias. And, you know, people have asked that question, well, what about the wild? I'm not 100% sure what their growth habits are in the wild, but what I do know is if you do let the stems or canes of these Rex Begonia get wet too long, they will rot away and they'll end up killing the plant. But you know, who doesn't like Rex Begonias? At least I love the color of them, especially the dark foliage ones. But I will be ending this video soon. I just want to show you a couple more plants at this Callaway's. You know, I am excited that I was able to get a lot of this filming done today. I will be hanging out with some family for Memorial Day weekend. I'm surprised that I was off. It happens to be, you know, my weekend off. So I rotate weekends. Every other weekend is when I do that. But we will see what that all looks like. So I wanted to go pan out one more time and show you these beautiful variegated Phalaenopsis orchids. Let me know if you would buy it. But plant foldies, as always, please like, subscribe, and join these live premiere chats. Leave a comment for me at the very end. I will get some more plant videos out for you. Check out my local plant nursery videos from last week. And as always, stay happy, be kind. I'm happy plant growing, and just ask me any questions you want on the comment section. I will definitely keep you posted on all of the other plants that I will find, but I am excited that I was able to find these variegated Phalaenopsis orchids. I was really surprised because I thought I wouldn't be able to find those in a while, but they are here. They are at Callaway's Nursery. So if one Callaway's Nursery has it, multiple nurseries will definitely have it. All of these Phalaenopsis orchids, again, can really light up a space. All right, this is Richie at Grow Folds. I'll see you on the next one. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Walmart in Anna, Texas. Now, Anna, Texas is a small town out in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, but this is way further up north. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button and also following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. If you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell on, and you'll be able to see content like this on a daily basis. But today I am going to Anna, Texas Walmart. We just had a tornado blow by around 6-7 a.m. in the Dallas area. Super scary. Thank goodness I wasn't hurt. None of my plants were hurt. No trees were broken around my neighborhood, but there are several places in the Dallas area that really suffered. Lots of people lost some electricity. So for my local plant foldies out in Dallas, I hope you guys are safe. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys the Anna, Texas Walmart because I found that small town big box stores typically have some interesting plant finds. I've seen some really uncommon plants that I would never expect. And I think it's because big box stores at a small town may not necessarily have as many plant enthusiasts, so the plants are a little bit more readily available. I did want to show you guys some of these planters before I got to the plants. So that's one thing that I also love looking at is planters. I love terracotta planters. I'm very specific or particular about my planters. Typically, I like to stick to like matte finishes or terracotta planters for my plant collection. I like pinks, although this pink one right here, I would prefer it to be more of a matte finish versus shiny glazes. That's really just my plant aesthetic. And again, plant foldies, I really want to know what your plant style is. You know, we talk about the plants that we like to grow, but are you also particular about the plants that you put in certain planters? So I'd really like to know about that. I typically get a lot of my planters from Target. They have some really nice planters that I've really appreciated. And then even this week, they got planters at Target for 30% off if you do an actual order pickup. So that's really cool. But the Better Homes and Garden plant collection right here, the planters that they have at Walmart have been really elevated in terms of the styling. So you can see we've got those dark planters there. I would like recommend like for a dark gray planter, putting like a dark foliage plant like maybe a Raven ZZ or something of that nature. And then these light planters right over here, I like to go put, you know, more colorful plants or even darker plants. So it just really depends on the type of plants you have and just really the space you have. I do like some of the textured planters, but I honestly prefer very simple, smooth surfaces rather than, you know, planters with different shapes. Now, it really just depends on your plant styling. Again, for me, it is just about what you're interested in or what you like. But as you can see here, lots of planters by Better Homes and Garden by Walmart. I love the look of that, and it is another plant that really looks really cool. And like these gray ones right here, I would buy them as well, and they're priced fairly well. So plant folies, just let me know what you think about these planters. And you can see right here, I like the texture of this one. But anyways, going to Anna, Texas is actually interesting because while it is a Walmart that is way up north, I noticed that they have quite a bit of plants to take a look at. So we're just gonna see what plant finds we have. I did want to say thank you to all of the plant foldies that tuned in last night for the big plant party premiere. I had a 3.5 hour long compilation video marathon of me plant shopping. So those were really repurposed plant shopping videos that I made in the past. And I just really wanted to make a longer format video for two reasons. One is because I'm preparing to go to the Philippines and I need content that I could schedule out. And I just didn't know if I would have time to create newer videos. And then number two, I wanted to create a long video just because we always chat on the live premiere chats, and 3.5 hour long video. I was surprised, excited, super happy that so many people tuned in to that. So I really appreciate that. I was really surprised about the reception. So just know if you see any plant shopping videos that are scheduled out for like June 28th, June 29th, those are compilation videos. And I really hope that you will still engage with me on that. But as you can see here, lots of hanging baskets by Costa Farms. Notice how they had those really full teddy bear vine plants. I really like the look of that one as well. That I thought that was super cool. And then we had some more other plants as well that we can look at. These photonias. Photonias are really easy to care for plants. Not really, I was just joking. Photonias are actually more challenging to grow. And then you can see right here, we've got an Epipremnum pinnatum Marble Queen Pothos. Beautiful variegation. If I find one that's got some really good variegation, I may end up buying another one. And that's the thing, certain plants, no matter what, if I say that I have like a plant, plant budget or no plant buy, I will break that easily if I find a plant that just really piques my interest. So we'll see. Now with Epipremnum pinnatum Marble Queen Pothos, it's got a beautiful variegation, but in order for it to really maintain its variegation, you have to give it a lot of bright indirect light. And notice how this is a beautiful yucca plant. Love that yucca cane. I don't really talk a lot about yucca cane plants because I don't really know a lot about them, and I'm not as interested to grow them in my space. I do love the look of these Diphymbachias right over here, these assorted Diphymbachias. And then you can see right here, we've got another beautiful and easy to care for plant. This is a Raven ZZ, and notice how it is plants with benefits, assorted foliage, stay centered. I really like that, you know, Costa Farm sources out so many plants, and I'm just impressed by the operation that Costa Farms has in terms about what plants they are able to source, whether it's common plants, rare plants. They just have plants everywhere you go. You can go to a big box store, a grocery store, a local plant shop, and still find Costa Farms plants. Over here, we've got some orchids, these Phalaenopsis orchids. Love Phalaenopsis orchids. And then we also have an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos for $10.97. Love Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, or just pothos plants in general, whether it's a golden pothos, a marble queen pothos, an enjoy pothos. They come in so many varieties. Now, I will say the golden pothos is probably the first pothos I would recommend for a beginner. These are $10.97, so that's a really good price for a pothos plant in a hanging basket. Know that you can grow them and let them trail, and you can actually take several cuttings. They root very easily in water, and so you can also just get more and more plants. Now, if you provide pothos plants a little bit more bright in direct light, they will actually grow at a faster rate as compared to, giving them lower light conditions. And that's the thing about plants. Some plants can tolerate lower light conditions, but that doesn't mean that they will thrive at all. They will just survive. They won't necessarily grow. So just keep that in mind. Here is a plant that I love looking at. This is a strawberry begonia by Costa Farms. This is another plant that you can take several propagations from because it shoots little babies out. It's similar to like a spider plant. Now with strawberry begonia, it has some beautiful leaf interest and texture. I do prefer the more variegated form on it. But yeah, plant foldies. Let me know what you guys think of all of these plants. I know I often show you guys the same types of plants, the same type of video format, but when I say that I really appreciate you guys coming in, watching my videos nightly, choosing to spend your time to engage with me, engage with the plant foldy community, it really does mean a lot to me. And I hope that we continue to have this momentum just because it is a community that I look forward to. These live premiere chats, I look forward to that. It is one of my highlights to just be able to create a space where everybody is welcome and where everybody is able to just talk about plants. But as you can see here, Anna Texas Walmart has some pretty good plants. You know, these are large basic plants. You know, we've got some Dracaena Massangeana, we've got some Yucca cane, we've got some Majesty palms. I haven't talked about Majesty palms quite a bit, but they are around, and you can see here, this is a Yucca cane, nice looking plant, and then right next to it is some Dracaena Massangeanas. Now, these larger foliage plants are typically seen in more like corporate offices. I wish more people would just grow them in their homes though. And you can see right here, Fittonia plants. I mentioned how it was an easy to care for plant. I was just joking. Fittonias are actually challenging plants. And the reason why they're challenging plants is because they require a little bit more water, and maybe they're more challenging for me because I don't really water my plants as often as I should. And truthfully, it's because I have really fallen off on the plant upkeep. You know, you talk about plant care. If you're not actually, you know, watering your plants, that's not really taking care of your plants. And I have been a little bit of a bad plant parent in that sense. And I think it's because I have really overstretched myself sometimes with the amount of time I have for myself to grow them. And you can see here, Texas bluebonnet. I wanted to highlight Texas's state flower. I love those. You can literally toss them in the ground, and year after year they'll come back. I really love that flower. And then you can see here, I am so surprised that Anna Texas has all of these amazing looking teddy bear vine hanging baskets. Now these are all for $19.84. Notice how full these teddy bear hanging baskets are. Look at that. And then, you know, it makes me think of all the big box stores that I've gone shopping. Isn't it amazing that Costa Farms can just, provide so many beautiful plants all over the country in the United States? I mean, I just think it's awesome. Like right here is a Rex begonia. This is a red kiss Rex begonia for $19.84. I love that crimson color. That is such a beautiful color that it has. And also just the black border around the leaves. It's a really nice looking Rex begonia. Now with Rex begonia, they can be a little bit challenging. You want to make sure that you're not getting the leaves wet or the stems wet. Otherwise, otherwise it can rot away, and that's just not good. It'll end up just killing the plant. And then over here we've got a tradescantia. This one is a purple one. This is the burgundy one, or the Zabrina one that we often see. What I like about tradescantia is they're easy to take care of. What I dislike about them is that they can get very leggy very quickly. You can see this one's already gotten a little bit leggy. So with this particular tradescantia, you would have to really cut it back in order for it to really encourage more bushy growth. My only tradescantia that I really enjoy growing would be the tradescantia Nanook. It's got larger foliage and it's easy to propagate. I also have the tradescantia Velvet that's doing very well for me. Here is a philodendron heteroraceum, or some people call this a philodendron cordatum, just a green form. Really like this as well. This is a classic house plant that's easy to grow. It is just as easy as growing a pothos plant, although the growth rate is a little bit slower than the pothos plant, but not by much, especially since it's just a green variety. And this is a beautiful Epipremnum aurea marble queen pothos. Look at that. I'm gonna actually buy this one, even though it is for $19.84. I will pay full price for this because look at how full and lush this is, and highly variegated it is. It's very variegated. I would even say that this looks like a snow queen pothos. Now, in order for me to maintain the variegation on this marble queen pothos, I would really need to make sure that it does get a lot of bright indirect light. If not, it will get a little bit more green just because it's going to try to produce more chlorophyll in order for it to photosynthesize. This is a little bit slower growing of a pothos as compared to the golden pothos or even the jade pothos, because there's not a lot of green on it, so it doesn't photosynthesize, if that makes any sense. I am going to definitely buy that today. I didn't intend to buy a plant, honestly, but when you run into a plant at a big box store and it's a nice plant, sometimes you just break the bank and just go ahead and buy it. I know that I am going so broke with all of these plant shopping videos, but you know, you live once. And you can see this is an example of a pothos marble queen that may not have gotten all of that bright light. That part over there has some green. What I would do is actually trim back the green parts to encourage more of the variegation. Just that's what a lot of people do in terms of any of their variegated plants. Sometimes trimming back the green will help push out the variegation. Now this is an example of a plant that is the variegation is really influenced by the amount of light you give it. So with the marble queen pothos, make sure you are giving them a lot of bright indirect light. Notice how this one also has a beautiful variegation as well. So I am impressed with the Anna Walmart plants, because look at this. I haven't seen that many hanging baskets of Epipremnum aurea marble queen pothos. What high quality variegation we have here. I will always buy a pothos, especially one that's from Costa Farms. Costa Farms has some really nice, healthy looking hanging baskets, and that's the thing. Maybe they just unloaded these hanging baskets and I just got lucky, but this is another plant that I definitely am going to go ahead and purchase because I want, you know, more pothos plants. You can never have enough pothos plants. I definitely enjoy growing pothos. It's a classic plant, and it's a plant that I would recommend anybody that's growing indoor house plants for the first time. It's a very easy beginner plant, and that's the thing. Easy to care for plants, plant foldies. That is the best way to go about starting your plant collection. You don't want to start out with a plant that is a little bit more challenging, like a calathea, for instance, because if you kill a plant, at least for me, I end up getting a little bit more discouraged. And I have learned that now if I do kill a plant, I have to just really step back, reassess what I did wrong and where I can do better. And it's typically because either I didn't give it the right lighting conditions, maybe I didn't give it enough care, or maybe it was a plant that wasn't suited for my my climate or even my indoor space. So those are a couple of things that I reflect on. And then if I want to go ahead and buy that plant again, I will end up doing it and maybe do better in growing it. But speaking of a plant that's super easy, everyone go ahead and buy yourself a Raven ZZ plant. Now people will say that ZZ plants are slower growing. I haven't really seen that because my Raven ZZ has done very well. I was able to save a lot of money by waiting to find it on clearance for $8 when it was for $19.84. It does thrive in neglect. I grow mine in a lower light condition and it's still doing very well. I will say with ZZ plants, you want to make sure that they are more on the drier side, so you don't really want to overwater a ZZ plant. Otherwise it will root rot very quickly, and that's the plant that I think is best for me because I am the type of person that doesn't really water my plants as often as I should. And I think it's because I'm also afraid to water my plants often because I'm afraid of like gnats, fungus gnats. I had a really bad gnat infestation where literally it was just all over my house. And keeping my surfaces dry tends to keep the gnats away. Now these are some dracaenas right here. I love dracaenas. This one is a beautiful one as well. Again, this is a plant that is super underrated, but it's super easy. So all of that beautiful green on green variegation is actually stable. You can grow that in a lower light condition and it will still do very well. And then over here, what a beautiful looking yucca cane plant. I don't know a lot about yucca canes. So plant foldies, again, please leave that in the comments. Let me know what you think about yucca canes, what the plant care tips are for yucca canes. Just as much as you guys have tuned in to learn about my my plant insights, and I am humbled and flattered that you guys find my videos educational. I never really claim to be a plant expert. I literally just go by some of the research I've done and more so my experience with plants in general. I've been growing plants for several decades, and that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. But at the same time, there are many amazing plant foldies that know a lot about plants. So please feel free to put in your plant insights in the comments section, what plants you're growing, what plant care tips you would give. I love it all. I love the engagement. You already know that that is one huge way to really support the channel. And over here, we've got a Dieffenbachia. So I love Dieffenbachia. You know, I always talk about Dieffenbachia and my love for it. It's just a plant that I can't really grow in my collection. The Dieffenbachia I have, the Dieffenbachia Sparkle and also the Dieffenbachia Cool Beauty are actually growing outside in my front patio, just because that is just the easiest venue for me to grow them. They get enough light and they get ambient humidity. And also there are natural predators for these pests like spider mites outside as compared to the indoors. So that's the thing. If you ever are struggling with plants, growing them outside in a shaded patio is the best way. Or if you're trying to rehabilitate a plant, sometimes it's easier just to take them out. I will say I have a bunch of syngoniums that haven't done very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop them back, put them outside and let them just grow and do their things. You can see right here, this is a ZZ plant that has a piece that fell off. What I'm going to do is actually just stick that back into the soil. So yes, I am that type of person that will go to a big box store or any plant nursery. If there's like something that's broken off, I will try to stick it back into the soil knowing that it could potentially propagate itself. I really love plants. I care about plants, even if they're the most basic plants. Even when I see plants that are on clearance, I always hope that somebody would, you know, give a plant a chance to take them home. If I could honestly take more plants in, I would, but I just know my space constraints. You know, I want to try to make plants be in an enhancement for my life, a de-stressor and not a stressor. And what happens is, or what I've seen in the past, or even in my personal community, is that I will get overwhelmed. I will get overwhelmed because I have like over 100 plants. They're all over my surfaces. And then it becomes more of a chore versus a hobby that brings me joy. So plant foldies, let me know what you think. And then let me know what you think about this Hedera helix, or what I call the Hedera helix, English ivy. Now this is an interesting one. What a plant find. This is for 1984, and this is what I'm talking about. Going to a small town big box store like Walmart, I've never seen this English ivy, and I'm disappointed that there is not a plant ID for it. Notice how it's got a different texture, but more so look at the variegation on this. That is so cool. If I wasn't buying the Marble Queen Pothos, I would probably buy this. I'm already being bad because the other day I couldn't resist but buy another English ivy. I got it on clearance for 50% off, so it would be my 15th English ivy I'm attempting to grow. I've already killed 14, so we'll see. But this is such a cool looking variegated English ivy. Plant foldies, let me know what you think. If you know the plant ID for this one, that is super cool. I want to buy it actually, but again, it's one of those things where I need to really look at my budget. I am going on a trip overseas, so I've got to save my money. I will say, you know, full transparency, if you love this content and want to support me, on my plant budget, there is an option to drop a tip for my video. Obviously, you're not obligated to do so, but they have what they call a super sticker or a super thanks. You can either drop a super sticker during a live premiere chat, or if you're just watching this video, there is a button where you can press and drop a tip. I will say thank you to the plant foldies that have left me tips. I'm sometimes surprised about the tips that you guys give me. Really appreciate that. I didn't want to put that out there, but the best way to support the channel, obviously, is just hit the like button. Literally, just hit the like button. If you are listening to me talk about this, if you are on the live premiere chats, or if you're just watching this as a team replay, hit that like button for me. That's all I ask. And you can see here, being in a small town big box store, look at these philodendron painted ladies. So I have not seen these Costa Farm trending tropical philodendron pink ladies, painted ladies in a long time. And now they have some right over here. Here's the thing about philodendron painted lady. It is a beautiful neon yellow plant, but the thing about it is you have to be able to give it a little bit more bright light in order for it to really retain its yellow. If it doesn't get that bright yellow, that light, it will not retain its yellow is what I'm trying to say. It will be more of a green tone. So just make sure you are cognizant about your lighting conditions. And then you can see right here, more easy to care for plants. So this one is a Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic Blue for 1984. It's an easy plant. The only thing I will say about Baltic Blue is it does require some more bright light in order for it to not get leggy. Any Epipremnum pinnatum tend to shoot out more runners versus foliage if it doesn't get enough light, especially the Cebu Blue Pothos. So check that out. And then here's another fun fact. Epipremnum pinnatum or Baltic Blue is actually endemic to my home country, or where my family's from, which is the Philippines. Proud Filipino right over here. If you are Filipino, mabuhay, and also leave comments in Tagalog. I can speak Tagalog as well. Love to connect with some kababayans, but as you can see here, we have even more plants, and I do think that this is an interesting Monstera staudtleiana. What's interesting is this plant used to be quite expensive a couple of years back, about 3 to 4 years ago, and now it is only for 1984. I do have one of these trending tropicals. This one prefers to grow on a totem pole or moss pole. So if you are going to grow this, to get the best out of this plant, you want to really give it something to climb on. That's the thing about certain plants. You can maximize on their potential beauty by seeing if they need to be growing more of their natural habitat. And a lot of these philodendrons and aeroids typically want to climb or typically want to crawl. They don't really like to trail. I know that a lot of these plants are typically put in hanging baskets and are allowed to trail, but that's not always the natural habit of growing these plants. So just be mindful about the plants that you take in. And you can see here, Aglaonema. What a beautiful Aglaonema. Now, I don't know the plant ID for this particular Aglaonema. I love Aglaonema. That's still one of my favorite plants to grow. What I've noticed about Aglaonemas is even though they are tolerant of being underwatered, you still have to water them. Like literally, I have not watered certain Aglaonemas in my collection for a month, and I'm still surprised that they have survived. I would say they've declined in their health. So again, that's me being a bad plant parent. And I'm okay with being transparent about that. I am by no means a professional when it comes to like growing plants. And I know that I'm not always the best at plant care. I do recognize that. And that's the thing again about my plant YouTube channel. I'm always gonna give you my most authentic self. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, but I don't really have a script when it comes to my plant commentary and voiceover. I just feel like it's easier for me to be more organic in my commentary. I found, at least based on the feedback you've given me, is that me just being very candid and very unrehearsed with my plant commentary kind of makes you feel like you're hanging out with me. And that's the reason why I do faceless. It's kind of like if you and I were just walking together and I'm literally talking your ear away. But as I pan away from here, you can see there are so many beautiful plants. And even if these plants are just, you know, some of them are common, some of them we've seen in the past. Let me know what you think though. Which plants would you buy from this haul of plants so far? I did want to go show you some plants outside, but I'm going to take a little bit more time to show you some of these plants, like this sago palm right here. Really like the look of sago palm, specifically the sago palm when it starts to unfurl its leaves. I love that as well. And you can see, look at that. That is so cool. Now, one thing about sago palm is, in like most palms, is you want to make sure that you're providing the palm a lot of light. They really do need light in order for them to really thrive. There are a couple of plants that do, you know, some palms that can tolerate lower light conditions, but typically they need some more light. So just be mindful about that. And then you can see that they have these readily available at most big box stores. And then this Epipremnum Amplissumum silver streak, it's another plant that I love. Silver foliage plants as well. It is another plant that I would love to add to my collection. You know, there's just a lot of plants I would love to add to my collection, but there are space constraints and also just time constraints. I think it's, for me, it's more time constraints. Like, I just don't always have the time to take care of plants, specifically watering. Like, if I could pay somebody to water my plants, I would consider doing it. But that's the thing about plant parenting, is you have to be mindful about that. Now, I did want to go walk outside and show you guys the outdoor garden section of this Walmart. Now, we just had a tornado blow through Dallas at 6 a.m. this morning. It was super scary. I, again, am thankful. I'm so thankful that nothing happened to my home, nothing happened to me, nothing happened to my immediate family or friends. So that's, you know, a good thing. But several businesses did lose power. I meant to go to some more of these local plant nurseries, but a lot of them are closed today. I'm surprised I'm out and about, but the only reason why I am in Anna, Texas is because my brother-in-law needed me to pick him up, and he was literally 8 minutes up the road from this Walmart. So I figured I'd go ahead and film a video. I wanted to just spend the rest of the day actually doing plant chores. So that's what I'll do. And I'm off tomorrow, so I'll have some more time to do plant chores. But anyways, lots of outdoor plants here. And I am a little disappointed because at this point, I was almost done doing the voiceover, so I actually had to start over. Something with my video editor caused me to not save my voiceover. So I'm a little bit frustrated, but that goes to show that if you just have to have patience, I suppose, when it comes to like doing plant shopping videos. Again, if you made it this far to my plant shopping video, please make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button. There is a lot of effort and energy and time placed into these videos. And while my videos may not be the most produced videos, there is a lot of care and passion that I put in there. But you can see this outdoor section of Walmart, while it's not that big for you know, some of the ones I've seen, honestly the best Walmart I've ever seen is the Rockwall, Texas Walmart. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that video, please check it out. It's a detailed, comprehensive video of all of the plants available at the Rockwall Walmart, so definitely check that out. But you can see here we've got a bunch of succulents and cacti, and I want to learn more about succulents and cacti. I mentioned this in all of my videos. I'm just not really versed with the plant IDs as compared to some of the other plants. And that's the reason why, because I never really grew up growing succulents and cactus except for jade plants. So I'm not as versed or familiar with them. I will say there are a lot of plant foldies that like succulents and cactus. And so I try to get you guys plants, or at least plants on film, for some of the plants that you guys might be interested in. It is important for me to give you guys content that you would be interested in while still giving you the content that I'm passionate about. So I will talk about coleus plants. I will talk about aglaonema. I will say hydra helix, just because those are the things that are interest for me. But I also want you guys to also give me plants that you guys want to see on film. So if I'm able to find them while out and about and filming, I will definitely do so. But you can see right here, assorted succulents and cactus. These are by Element Plants, but also Smart Plants sources out succulents as well. That's the thing I like about big box stores, is there is a plethora of succulents that you can find. I have yet to find like a succulent and cactus type nursery. If I do, I will definitely do a plant video about that And what I like about, succulents and cactus is when you really look at the nuances of succulents and cactus, they have so many varieties. It is a whole new world. So plant foldies, especially the ones that know how to grow succulents or grow succulents, please leave in the comments what succulents you enjoy, what succulents have worked for you, what succulents you would suggest growing in a home. So just let me know about that. My favorite succulent would be an aeonium. Those are really cool, but I learned from an aeonium that if you grow an aeonium in hotter conditions, they don't do very well, because I just assumed that all succulents are like desert plants and they could just do heat, but that is not necessarily the case. Another thing I learned about succulents is you don't really want to get the succulent leaves wet or keep them wet. So I was top watering my aeonium plants, and then when you top water the aeonium plants and then the Texas hot sun hits it, it not only burns it, it was just not a good situation. So I learned my lesson on that. It's one of those things, again, it's all about just learning from your mistakes and really learning about the plants. So we'll see what that all looks like in terms of whether I add actual succulents to my collection. But you can see here, this one is for $4.97. Really like the look of this one. Look at that variegation as well. And then the pink, I am all about that pink variegation. I think it's super cool. This succulent almost has some cool ground cover effect right here. I really like that as well. This one is also for $4.97. Really like that. Now, I wouldn't know too much about the plant care tips for this, but again, plant foldies, that's the reason why I always ask for like plant care tips and just plant information in general. I just think that it's one of those things where it is a community we have on Grow Folds. So if you have any commentary about succulents and cactus, please leave that in the comment section. Like this one right here, I am wanting to buy. This is a Crassula obliqua tricolor, or a tricolor jade plant. I love that as well. And if you actually sun stress it, which means you give it a lot more light, you'll get more of the pinks out of that one. And that's what's really cool about this particular succulent. And I love jade plants. That's the one plant I am more familiar with, just because my grandmother and mom grew these as a kid, when I was a kid, and I was always exposed to it. And that's the reason why a lot of the plants that I may cater to, they have a sentimental recall for me. Like I remember my first houseplant I grew was a Syngonium white butterfly, and that was a plant that I bought at Target of all places. And I remember growing it in my bathroom, and the bathroom didn't even have any windows, but for some reason it was still able to grow. So those are things that bring me memories from my childhood, and those are things that make it personal for me when it comes to plants. Now, some people are into plants because of the monetary value. If you are, I'm okay with that. But for me, I really just like to grow plants, not because they're a rare plant, but literally it's a plant that brings me joy. And I don't know if you guys are on the same boat. Plant foldies, I want to know what your thoughts are, but as you can see here, lots of echeveria. Love this as well. Look at that. It almost looks like ivory. Look at that echeveria. And then we just have several different types of succulent plants. This one is just a common jade plant, but it's another plant that is easy to grow. At least for all the succulents I've seen, they've done very well. And what I've found is a lot of these succulents prefer temperatures that are not too high. So that's the reason why when I was in California, a lot of people actually grow like succulents, like jade plants in their landscape, because they have very stable weather. And you would think that succulents can actually grow in like super hot weather, and that is not necessarily the case. I remember talking to a lady who was selling rare succulents at PlantCon 2024 in Houston, and she said that a lot of the plants of her succulents she grows in the backyard, but when it's summertime, she has to take them indoors because it's too hot. I should have remembered what she told me, because I just thought I could just put one of these succulents and put them out in direct sun and it'd be okay. But that is not the case. But you can see here another type of jade plant here. I'm thinking if I'm gonna go add succulents, I'm gonna go ahead and just buy jade because those are the succulents I'm most familiar with. And then you can see here, look at this interesting aloe vera and look at how that root is just popping out. What an interesting texture as well on it. So plant foldies, let me know what you think about the succulents that you've seen so far. What succulents are you currently growing? What is a wish list succulent? I know I've asked a lot of questions in the shopping video today, but I really want to garner more engagement when it comes to like comments. And then for all of the plant foldies that continue to leave comments, you can leave multiple comments. It doesn't mean that you can just put one comment. You can put as many comments as you want. I will definitely comment back and reply to you. It's just really cool to see that. But you can see here, look at this succulent right here. I love seeing blooms on succulents. Like, look at how delicate this bloom is right here. Really nice pink blooms. And I like this succulent because this is another crassula. I didn't even realize this was a jade plant until I saw the plant ID. You can see the underside's got that red purple tone, and then it's green as well. But many succulents to choose from. Walmart would be a place I would suggest getting succulents because for the most part, their succulents are a little bit more cost effective as compared to a lot of the big box stores. They're definitely going to be more cost effective when you compare it to local plant nurseries. And you can see here, we've got some containers, and I want to pan over here and show you this cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. One of my favorite plants to look at and grow. This one does better being grown outdoors. I currently have mine growing in full sun and it's doing well. It's giving me some beautiful pink variegation. And you can see here, these are pentas flowers or flower clusters. These ones need full sun, and this one is for $18.47. I love flowering plants as well. As a kid, I grew a lot of flowering plants, especially from seed, marigold and zinnia specifically. I actually have some zinnia flowers growing in my backyard. Literally tossed some seeds in the ground and they grew. And I'm gonna walk over here and show you some more of these container plants. These are all for $17.88. The first one would be lantana. Love lantana because they are a vigorous grower. When I say vigorous grower, they spread quickly and grow quickly and produce beautiful flowers. They are great pollinator plants. You'll get a lot of pollinators around, and you can see here beautiful colors on this caladium. So I've shown you a lot about caladiums. I love caladiums. I bought a couple of caladiums that I plan to grow indoors. They're currently outdoors in a container, but you can see they come in many different varieties. This one is for $17.88. You've got a combination of the red caladium and some pink. I prefer the pink caladiums. I would love to get some of those more rare hybrid caladiums like the Pink Symphony Thai hybrid caladium. That looks super cool. And the thing about caladiums are they can grow from bulbs pretty quickly in Texas just because the bulbs actually start to sprout when it starts to get a little hot. And I will say it was really hot yesterday. It was like 96 degrees, felt like 100. And then even today we have some hot weather. It looks like we didn't even have like a tornado or a storm hit us. It is super sunny this afternoon as I do this voiceover. And you can see over here, caladiums again for $17.88. This one is more of the red strap leaf caladium. Really like that a lot. And you notice that all of these plants just got a really good soak. Some plants like to be top watered, but some plants, if I were you, I would do your research on it, like Rex begonias, succulents, for instance. You don't want to really water them from the top. Same thing with rose bushes. Like if you water rose bushes, especially at night, that's not a good thing because that's how you get like fungus diseases. So I've learned this through experience. So plant foldies, let me know what your experience are on whether you water your plants from the top, or do you water the surface, or do you bottom water? I'd like to know that as well. And then over here, we've got some crepe myrtles. So crepe myrtles are readily available and grown all over the North Dallas area, which is where I'm based at. They're easy to grow and they are fast growers. They make beautiful flowers and they are heat and drought tolerant. So once established, crepe myrtles do really well in hotter areas. And honestly, they prefer that. In cooler areas or cooler climates, they end up getting fungus diseases. So again, it is all about knowing your grow zone, knowing your climate. Like for me, my grow zone is 8B. So whenever I do outdoor plant shopping, I have to really do my research on what plants are applicable to my grow zone. Now, I really try to push the envelope to grow like Japanese maples. they are not necessarily the best in growing in Texas just because we have such hot weather. And then over here is the plant of the hour, the plant of the day, the plant of the year for me, and that is coleus plants. I have never really grown coleus until this year. I've never been interested in coleus plants. I always thought that they were just like an annual plant that you would grow in the landscape in a flower bed, but I did not realize that there are many ways to grow coleus. There are many varieties. Like this one right here is a flamethrower coleus, which means that this particular coleus can take full sun. Some coleus really cannot tolerate sun at all, so they have to be in more shaded areas, but this coleus can take full sun, anything flamethrower. So that's all of these different hybrids, and they're constantly getting different types of hybrids of coleus plants. And the reason why I feel like it's easy to hybridize coleus plants is they bloom and you can cross-pollinate the blooms and really get different types of crossbreeding when it comes to that. I would love to experiment with that someday. Here is another coleus I love for $5.88. It's a really good value for this coleus campfire. Now, what I've discovered with campfire is the red leaves become more red the more light it receives. It is a plant that can grow in a lot of sun, even full sun. It can tolerate that. Now, the only downside with coleus plants is you have to keep their soil moist. They don't like to dry out. They're a very thirsty plant. But on the top side, or the more positive side, coleus plants are vigorous growers. They come in many varieties of colors, shapes, sizes. They're typically inexpensive, and you can get a lot of free plants from a coleus plant because you can literally take cuttings. And I would encourage cutting back your coleus anyway, because when you take a cutting, 2 more shoots come out of the node and you get more of a bushier plant. I've seen a lot of European Instagram accounts have a lot of these coleus plants, and when I say that it opened my mind and just my interest in growing coleus plants, it's another thing. In Europe, they call them palette leaf plants. There is a huge craze for them. They grow those plants indoors. I've seen full-blown trees of coleus growing indoors, and that's because they've been trained to do so. And that's what I would like to eventually do, is grow a couple of coleus and train them. So what I'm doing is with some of my coleus, I'm not chopping it back. I'm literally letting them get taller and taller until I get to the height I want. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on like a stick to keep it stable, and then chop the top of the coleus up. And then that way it'll promote more branching. Like this one right here would be a good candidate. This is another coleus. This is the Main Street coleus for $8.77. Notice how it's kind of lost its lower leaves and how it's just got 2 stems going up. I would let it grow up a little bit further, and then I would get rid of all of the leaves on the bottom and just let the top grow. And then I would eventually chop that to produce more leaves or more branching, and then it'll become a coleus tree. Or if there was 3 shoots, I would braid them up. I saw some braided coleus actually fused together, and it was really cool because coleus plants, their stems can actually get woody as it becomes more mature. So things that I learned by just doing my research and just checking Instagram. So again, plant foldies, if you don't have an Instagram account, create one. Add me on Instagram. You'll see a lot of other content that I do. Let me know what you guys think of my Instagram reels. I also post my Instagram reels on YouTube as YouTube shorts. I have been trying to do that daily as well, so let me know what you think. And then over here, vinca plants or vinca flowers. I love vinca flowers, especially for hot conditions. This is a plant that you can grow in containers, hanging baskets, flower beds. They prefer full sun. They are very drought tolerant as well, so that's a great plant to grow in a hot climate like Texas. And then these are a beautiful arrangement of coleus Kong or Kong coleus. Now, Kong coleus are typically what they call big leaf coleus, so these leaves can get even larger. I love the neon color of this particular coleus plant. It is a vigorous grower. It is one that can get really large leaves. These are only for $6.77. This is the Garden Expert one, so it's not the Better Homes and Garden. So it's more of the more cost-effective brand of Walmart. And you notice how that coleus has a branch that has fallen out and is like pretty much about to detach itself. What I would do is I would take this little cutting right here, and I'm just going to stick it back into the soil. And you know what? If you water this and keep the soil consistently moist, it will root within a week, and then you'll have another plant. So that's the thing about coleus I love. I don't like wasting cuttings. I don't like wasting plants. And that's the thing about coleus. I always propagate propagate the cuttings. Like I try not to throw them away, and that's probably the reason why I have like more than 50 coleus plant propagations. Like I do intend to do them as like plant giveaways to plant foldies. So for those that live in the United States, I may send you some plants. Like I really want to share my gratitude is what I'm trying to say. My gratitude for all of the viewership you guys have given me over the last couple of months. Like seriously, I was surprised that a lot of people tuned in for a 3.5 hour long marathon of plant shopping videos. When I reflected back on some of my plant shopping videos, I realized that was a lot of time and effort I placed to make those videos, and to see it for 3.5 hours and to see you guys celebrate it, go in and out of the chat, that was just amazing. And I was surprised about the amount of views it receives. So if you want, that kind of content, definitely let me know. And then just know that is the content I will be producing starting on June 27th. So I've gotten 3 compilations already scheduled. What I would do, plant foldies, is make sure you are going to that link if you see it pop up on your YouTube feed, and put the notification bell on. That way you're notified. But you can see lots of different plants over here. This is another Angelonia plant. I'm not sure about what this plant's care tips are, but you can see that it's got some really nice looking flowers, and obviously that wax begonia right here, the big leaf wax begonias. We've got a lot of these impatiens right here. See, these New Guinea impatiens are really nice as well. Now impatiens have to be grown more so in shade unless they are the sun patient. But just keep that in mind. I do like the look of the leaves as well as the stems. I find it really interesting, and there's just a lot of diversity when it comes to impatiens. It is another plant that I was exposed to growing up. My grandmother grew those in the shaded areas, but look at that. It always reminds me of like begonia stems as well. And you can see right here more coleus plants. I really hope you guys don't get tired of coleus plants. I already know, guys. Plant foldies, I already know coleus are not everybody's cup of tea. It is definitely my cup of tea with biscuits. Like I love coleus plants. Look at that. How can you not like coleus plants? Beautiful neon green borders with that dark burgundy color in the middle, and even that light pink veining. That's super cool. This one is a pretty full coleus plant for $8.77. Notice how this piece broke off. What I would do is I would stick that stem into the soil and let that propagate itself. That's really easy. For those that haven't seen my grandmother, I have a little shorts video on YouTube where she literally talks about plant propagation. She just says, I just stick it into the soil, and that's exactly what I do with the coleus plants. I just stick them into soil. I was putting them in water, but I figured it's faster and more efficient for me to just stick them into soil. So that's what I've been doing. Now this is a coleus plant I almost want to rescue. If it was on sale, I would do it, but I'm not going to pay $8.77. But what I would do is I would take all of the leaves from the bottom, all the bottom leaves and bottom stems, and just have 3 sticks. And what I would do is I would braid the 3 sticks together so they would fuse and become a coleus tree. I think that would be super cool, and I could actually grow it. I actually found an Instagram account that has a braided coleus tree. It was super beautiful. And so if you are on my Instagram, check out my Instagram stories. I always repost ways to grow coleus, and maybe you'll understand why I love coleus so much. But you can see right over here, look at that beautiful pink coleus right here. Love that. And coleus plants, their coloration is really influenced by the amount of light you provided. The more light you provide a coleus plant, especially that bright indirect light, the better coloration it's going to get, the more vigorous it's going to get. It's a super fast plant to grow. You can literally like chop it back to its base, and within about a week and a half, 2 weeks, it's a full-blown plant again, and it's even going to be more bushy. So coleus plants, plant foldies, let me know if you are going to grow coleus plants, or at least give it a try. I mean, they're not that expensive. You can find them for like $1.99 and see how it goes for you. And then over here, we've got lantana. These are the lantana bandana ones, the yellow ones. Really like the look of this. I also like yellow flowers, and notice how these are beautiful small clusters of flowers. Lantana are easy to grow, especially in more hotter conditions like Texas. So that is a plant that I've decided will be growing in my landscape. I've got quite a bit in my backyard growing, and they are starting to really spread and get and grow. And The great thing about coleus, not coleus, I keep saying coleus, as you can tell, I'm obsessed with coleus, but the great thing about lantana plants is that they can be grown as a perennial in Texas. So what that means is a perennial plant is a plant that will go through a whole growing cycle. It'll grow in spring, summer, and fall, die back in the winter, and then come back in the spring or summer, year after year. And then you can see here more crepe myrtles, but for the bad weather we got, it wasn't too bad, except some of these plants did take some beating. So what I'm going to do is actually take this basil right here and put it back into its pot. You know, I always try to like help plants whenever I go plant shopping. I always hope for the best for these plants. Like I hope that people will buy them before they decline in their health or become clearance plants and then end up in the trash. There's just a lot of plastic that gets thrown away from some of these plants. So I always try to like do my best to at least take care of the plants while I'm going out here and plant shopping. And that's the thing, again, you never know what plants you're going to run into when you go big box store plant shopping. Sometimes you'll assume that a location doesn't have the best plants, and then you'll find like a variegated monstera Thai constellation, for instance. I have yet to get that experience, but I'm hoping. And you can see right here, Asiatic jasmine. I didn't notice that they get a little bit woody. It is a plant that I was thinking about possibly growing indoors. We'll see. I like the variegated form. And then you can see all of this ground cover. Now, what I found about ground cover is ground cover plants can potentially be hanging basket plants indoors or trailing plants. One plant that I am obsessed with would be the variegated ajuga. Every single plant shopping video, if there is a variegated ajuga to be found at that store, I will show it. And this is another one right here. This one is in a 4-pack. And what I like about the variegated ajuga is it does have some beautiful variegation, some creams, some lavenders, some purples, some pinks, and it can grow in full sun or shade. So I like that it has versatility when it comes to lighting conditions. So that will be a plant that I will potentially try to grow indoors. Right now it's out in my front patio getting full sun. And then you can see here plumera. So that's really cool to see plumeras at Walmart. This is for $34.74. I'm curious to see what the bloom color is by these plumeras. These are by Costa Farms as well for the Island Bloom series. We've got some bougainvilleas and we've got some dark foliage plants. Love dark foliage plants. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a potato vine hanging basket for $17.88. Really like this as well. This is a vigorous growing plant. It is a plant that takes full sun. It needs to be in full sun to really grow. And notice how this has a broken stem. So I'm just going to stick that back into the soil, hoping that it will root. It is an easy to propagate plant. I would love to grow this purple potato vine indoors. I've tried it in the past, but they tend to get spider mites. So again, when it comes to certain plants that are really meant to grow outdoors, the reason why they end up getting spider mites is because they're not in the best conditions for growing. It is one of those things where if a plant's health is compromised in any sort, they become more susceptible to plant pests. So my way to combat that is to spray my plants with my DIY neem oil preventative spray. I spray my plants now once a week. I spray the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves, the stems, the crevices of their nodes, the top of the surface, and the bottom of the drainage hole to really prevent pests. Obviously, I can still go through that, but I will also understand that pests will still appear. It's just a preventative. And that's something I learned talking to another plant owner, or plant shop owner named Lupita. She owns Pita's Planters. If you haven't checked out the Pita's Planters shop, I have two videos actually that really detail that. But we were talking about how plant pests are part of plant parenthood. It's something that you can't really avoid, but you can mitigate and make sure that it stays minimal. And then over here, we've got some ajuga plants, beautiful ajuga plant here. This is another one that's got dark foliage. It's one that I'm considering to grow in my plant collection. This one is a little bit more compact. And with the ajuga plant, if you give it that light, it will have that darker foliage. This one is for $4.37. Really like the look of ajuga plant. Look at that. That is amazing. And that is a plant that I definitely want to add into my plant collection. Super easy to grow. It's one that I definitely want to just keep adding, I want to keep creating a trend of growing plants that are not really seen as a tropical house plant for indoor spaces. So if you like that type of content, again, please make sure you are hitting that like button and the subscribe button with the notification bell on. I really want to see our plant Foldy community grow. Right now, we are about at 9,550 subscribers. So just another 450 people to subscribe. We'll get to 10,000 subscribers. That would be amazing. In the last 5 months, we've really grown our plant Foldy community. So I would love to see that. And then over here, we've got some caladiums. Now this has some beautiful green veining on the caladiums. I really like the look of this particular caladium, and notice how it's got some white leaves. This one is actually pretty cost effective for $6.97. I would love to add this caladium to my collection. It is one that, I like white foliage plants as well, as much as I like pink ones. I would love to do a caladium collection. I might do that when I come back from the Philippines. We'll see. But I'm also trying to think about some of the plants. Luckily, I have my sister that lives in the same area as me that can come over here and water my plants while I'm gone. And that's the thing, plant foldies. Do you ever take like a vacation? Who do you have take care of your plants? Or what do you do to prepare your plants for a long vacation? Please leave that in the comments. I really want to know that, because I will be going to the Philippines in 30 days, and I'm really excited to be coming back home to my family's home country. I am definitely very excited to show you what plant shops they have, what plant pricing they have. It'll be very interesting to see. Obviously they don't have those types of big box store plants, but what I will say is the plants that you see in, tropical house plants, you'll see in the wild. So stay tuned for that. Know that a lot of my videos that will be premiering are going to be longer format videos, and my intent is just to have like a plant party for you guys. So while I may not always be on the live premiere chats, I still want to maintain that same type of engagement through the live premiere chats. They'll typically be 2.5 to 3 hour long videos. So obviously don't feel obligated to stay through the whole time. You can drop in, chat with some people, come out of the chat, come back in, just kind of like what everybody was doing yesterday. I was still surprised that we had 118 people at the peak of the live premiere chat. So that was really cool. I actually had to screenshot that just so I can remind myself that we finally hit over 100 people in the live premiere chat. And then over here, we've got a philodendron Birkin. This is for $14.97 in a self-watering planter. Philodendron Birkin, beautiful plant. I've seen different varieties of variegation on a philodendron Birkin. Look at this one right here. It's got a beautiful white variegation. And then we have a Gianthus plant, or a geo plant. I don't know a lot about this plant. I do know that this is a beautiful looking plant. It looks fake. It almost looks like just plastic rubber. I have heard that this is a finicky plant. So plant foldies, let me know what you know about this particular plant. It is a dark foliage plant that I may want to add to my collection. But for me, I'm all about the easy to care for plants now, just because knowing how my life has been the last couple of months, been super busy. And then with YouTube, these plant videos take an average of 5 to 6 hours to produce. And when I'm doing this daily, it is a little bit much on top of like balancing my life and my job as well. So a tough plant to grow may not necessarily be in the works for me. I do want to grow this philodendron painted lady. This is a beautiful one as well. And notice how it's gotten a little bit more light than it needed to be, because it started to get a little bit browning. You can see that some of the leaves have actually started to bleach out. And calathea. As much as I love the look of calatheas, I don't think I'll be adding any calatheas to my plant collection. Whenever I talk to plant lovers, they always say calatheas are the biggest heartbreakers. They definitely are. It's that one plant that will entice you. It's kind of like when you see a very attractive person and you were, single at one point, but then that very attractive person is also a heartbreaker. I kind of say that about calatheas because they are beautiful plants, very attractive plants, but very finicky plants, very high maintenance plants, and a plant that literally will break your heart. Like if you don't give it the care it needs, it will literally die very quickly. And I have killed quite a bit of calatheas as well, but I just keep coming back to it because I don't know about you plant foldies, but there are certain plants that really enticed me to want to buy it again. The one plant that has my heart, and it has broken my heart many times, is the Hydra Helix, for instance. And that is another plant that I did a bad thing and I bought another one, but it was on clearance. So plant foldies, what do you think so far of these plants? Like this Monstera Peru, this one is for $19.84. This is a plant though that would be an easy to care for plant. Typically monsteras are quite easy to take care of, so it is a plant that I could add to my collection. I've noticed that philodendrons and, you know, like this philodendron Birkin, for instance, would be an easy to care for plant. I think those are the plants that are really more suitable for me. Calatheas, those types of plants, I kind of need to steer away from. Even syngoniums. As much as I love syngoniums, I've kind of realized that I just don't have the time to really invest in like watering them and really upkeeping them. So it's a plant that unfortunately I'm gonna have to scale back a little bit on. I know that that sounds a little bit disappointing for some of you guys, but I like to keep it real. I like to be transparent about what plants I'm struggling with. So let me know in the comments what plants you're struggling with, what plants you've had to like not grow as much because of maybe the care conditions. Now this Ficus lyrata right here, I'm so surprised, but my Ficus lyrata has done very well with neglect. Like I talk about how it needs consistency. I will say I'm consistent about the watering, but in terms of just like everything else, it's been growing pretty well for me considering it was a 99-cent plant find that I found on clearance. So that's the thing too, plant foldies, like this one right here, this is another Aglaonema. I was surprised to find this Aglaonema. I don't often see this Aglaonema at big box stores anymore, and it is nice. What I love about it is, look at those white stems. White stem Aglaonema are amazing, and this is also for $14.97. Definitely want to get more Aglaonema in my collection. I am starting to really stabilize my houseplant collection and even the space and how I'm displaying them. So if you are going to stick around for my content, definitely know I will do a plant shopping, not a plant shopping video, sorry, a plant haul, plant collection home tour soon, just like some of those other plant YouTubers out there. We'll see how it goes though. I just have to have time to really get my plants together. I say that in every video, but I promise you guys, I am really trying my very best. It looks like a very unorganized jungle in my home right now. You can see here though, Monstera Studleiana or Monstera Cobra. Oh, that's how Costa Farms actually calls it. This is another plant that typically does better being grown on a moss pole. So you can see that all of these plants here, the ones I'm picking up, are typically easy to care for. Plants like this ZZ plant is an easy to care for plant. So let me know in the comments, plant foldies, what you guys think of today's video. I know that I wasn't really expecting to go film, but again, your support and just the inspiration you guys give me to continue to just keep shopping and creating plant shopping videos daily keeps me going. So keep up all of the comments as well as hitting that like button. Now this Pilea Dark Mystery here for $4.97. This is a Pilea I definitely want to add to my collection. It is a beautiful plant, dark foliage plant. But as you can see at the Walmart in Anna, Texas, super surprised that they had a very good amount of plants, considering I wouldn't think that smaller towns would have like a huge plant selection. Honestly, sometimes I feel like they have a better selection than maybe a more urban setting. I've noticed that whenever I go to like a big box store in Dallas, Texas, a lot of the plants have already been picked through. So I may start doing even more big box shopping videos in more remote big box stores and, you know, like Walmart's way out there. You can see here, Belgian waffle plant. Love it as well. Very hard to grow plant though. It needs a lot of water. So I'll keep that aside. I love crotons, but crotons, this Sunny Star croton, for instance, needs to be grown outside. It's always marketed as an indoor plant, but I've realized that it really needs to be grown outdoors. I grow mine in full sun and it is doing extremely well. So plant folies, I've talked about a lot of plants that are meant to be grown outdoors as potentially be growing indoors. There are some plants like the croton, for instance, it needs to be grown outdoors for sure. purple waffle plant. This actually has done very well for me. Of all the waffle plants, beautiful dark foliage. It just needs to stay moist in order for it to really live. But as you can see here, as I pan out over here, many plants to choose from, many hanging baskets. So I was surprised at what I was going to end up picking up, that marble queen pothos, but I can't set that aside because it's a nice and full one. So plant foldies, I hope you enjoyed today's video with some of this new content. Definitely keep a lookout for more content like this. Leave as many comments as you want and let me know what you think. Please hit that like button. And I hope everybody, especially in the local area of Dallas, has stayed safe. We're supposed to be getting another storm tonight, so be sure to be safe. Seek shelter, ask for help. And this is Richie at Grow Folds. I hope you like this new video for today. I will have one tomorrow, a brand new episode as well. As always, please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. All I want. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Lowe's off of Highway 121 in McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting that like button and also following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me, as well as subscribing to the YouTube channel for daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. But as you guys can see here, it is early evening, late afternoon, and I decided to go ahead and check out this Lowe's. I often go to this Lowe's just to see if they have restocks. And I've talked about this in all of my other plant shopping videos, especially big box stores. You never know what plants you're gonna run into. So I figured I'd take a gander and take a look at what plants we have at this location. As you can see right here, we've got a lot of beautiful Croton Petras. I really like Croton Petras. They're in a plant that is a little bit more finicky. I always recommend growing Crotons though outdoors. They have beautiful variegation, beautiful colors. Their coloration is actually influenced by the amount of light you give it. It is a plant that's marketed to be grown indoors, but honestly, the best way to grow them is outdoors. They're really meant to be a tropical shrub in tropical areas of the world. So I would say if you're able to grow a Croton Petra, and this one's only for $19.98, I would go ahead and just plan to grow them outdoors. I currently have a Croton Magnificum that is growing out in south-facing area of my front lawn in full sun. It gets about 7 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, and it is doing extremely well. And then over here, as I pan over, you can see that they've got a bunch of cool looking Alocasia in containers, and you can see that I am taking a little bit of time to showcase some of the plants that you often see outside of a big box store before actually going into the outdoor section, and as well as the indoor houseplant area. I will be featuring more of the outdoor area today as well as indoor, but that will be on the later part of the video, just because I want to really diversify the plants that I showcase on this channel. For those that are new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome to the channel, and if you are currently watching this video and during a live premiere, please say hello on the live premiere chat. As always, I appreciate every single one of you that have chosen to spend your evenings during the live premiere to chat with me, to interact with other plant foldies. It is a growing community that is welcoming to anybody who wants to talk about plants. But as you can see here, I passed by a bunch of those Costa Farm plants. So we saw a bunch of hibiscus, and we've seen a lot of these mandevilla flowers. And a lot of the mandevilla flowers now at big box stores are currently blooming. So I find them absolutely stunning. I love the white mandevilla flowers. I feel like, white flowers, there is just a certain elegance about it. I talk about that in all of my videos, but, let me know what you guys think in the comment section about what, flower colors you like. I also like these hibiscus. My family is originally from the Philippines, and in the Philippines we call hibiscus gomamela. Really like the look of that. And in tropical areas, especially for hibiscus, they like to be in full sun. They prefer humidity. They definitely don't want to dry out. They're a very thirsty plant, so just make sure you are watering your hibiscus. Now, in terms of a plant that you want to be cautious about watering, that would be roses. I love roses. They love the heat, and me being based out in North Dallas, where the the summers are like 100+ degree weather, roses can grow well in those hotter conditions. The only thing is, when you are watering a rose, you never really want to water the rose and get the leaves wet or the blooms. That will actually encourage fungus or yellow diseases, black fungus disease. You really want to water roses at the base. So if you have a sprinkler system, it's really best to not use that on roses. Now, as I walk over here again, look at these beautiful mandevilla flowers. Now you've got a combination of pink, red, and white. And I love how this little corridor of just all of these hanging baskets of mandevilla just gives you this like tropical vibe. I don't have any mandevillas just because I've never really attempted to grow mandevillas. From my understanding, they need full sun, but they also need to be watered frequently. They don't really want to dry out. They are also susceptible to spider mites. I've seen like really underwatered mandevilla flowers or mandevilla bushes, or however you want to classify them, having yellowing on the leaves. And I've noticed that it's because of spider mites. And notice that this is a proven winner's container hanging basket. So you've got some trailing coleus plants, and check this view out. What do you think of all the beautiful mandevilla flowers right here? So we've got a combination of different types of pinks. Really nice looking flower. I would consider mandevilla flowers obviously and more of a summer blooming flowers. You know, there is a lot of flowers that I really appreciate. I love azaleas, but typically azaleas grow more so in the spring. Now that summer is about to approach, you can see that we've got a lot of these tropical blooming flowers. Mandevillas are awesome. I am curious though, plant foldies, if you grow mandevillas, have you grown them indoors, or do they really need to be outdoors in full sun? As always, I love to hear from you guys. So any kind of comments that you could leave in the comment section, I read every single one of them and I will reply to you guys. And then also, if you want to ask me any questions directly, you can also send me a direct message on Instagram at GrowFolds. I'm really trying to grow the GrowFolds Instagram. I know I've talked about creating a Facebook account, but the thing about it is, if I make a Facebook account for the GrowFolds community, I just want to make sure I have time to really optimize it and make sure that the right parameters are there. I really want to make it more so of a members join versus just a public Facebook, so we have a little bit of control about what type of content, what type of followers we get, because I want to make sure that our community at GrowFolds remains to be a positive one that really is about educating each other and just really supporting each other, encouraging each other to be better plant parents. But you can see right here, I am taking a little bit of time on these mandevilla flowers. I absolutely love them. And you know, I filmed this on the day where Dallas had some really strong winds, some potential tornadoes that hit Dallas. As I was driving around to film, I did see a bunch of neighborhoods all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or the Dallas metropolitan area, specifically in Plano and Richardson, where there was just a bunch of broken limbs on trees. Again, I am thankful that I am doing okay, that I am safe, because there were some people that were less fortunate than me. And hopefully for the local plant foldies that watch my channel, I hope you guys are safe, and I hope that you can find some joy and some relaxation on this plant content. But as you can see here, we've got a crassula, ET fingers, really cool crassula, or what you would call a jade plant. So I didn't realize that there were many varieties of jade plant. You know, as a kid, I grew up, my grandmother was growing jade plants, so I was always exposed to jade plants, but typically I would just find the regular green jade plant. And then as I did some more plant shopping videos, I was really exposed to it. Beautiful succulent. It's a succulent that I would definitely add to my collection. As compared to a lot of the other succulents, I'm still learning a lot about it. And then right over here, this is an Opuncia Goblin for $9.98. You know, when you go to Lowe's or any big box store, I always say big box stores really do have cost-effective pricing. You know, there is a double-edged sword when it comes to like big box store plant shopping. Some people might think that I am, you know, saying negative things about big box stores. It's not that. It's just that if you buy a big box store, the care for the big box store plants may not always meet maybe a plant enthusiast's expectations as compared to like a local plant nursery. So just know that you have to be cautious about buying big box store plants. Assume that there may be potential pests even at a local plant nursery, but if you do buy a big box store plant, make sure that when you take it home, you quarantine it away from your current plant collection, and then also take a neem oil spray or some type of insecticidal soap spray, and make sure that you spray it down completely. You just want to make sure that you are mitigating as many potential hitchhiker pests that you could find at a big box store. But as you can see here, beautiful mandevilla flowers. I would love to just have an alleyway full of these trailing flowers. They kind of remind me of like bougainvillea flowers. You know, when you ever see like bougainvilleas just trailing and having walls and walls of beautiful blooms, that is awesome. And then we also have some containers right here of just white vinca flowers, but look at how beautiful those flowers are. Now, if you find these flowers beautiful, please hit the like button on my video. I do often ask that you guys hit the like button on my videos, just because it really does help with the YouTube engagement, as well as just getting this content pushed out to more plant lovers like yourself, myself, and it just really increases our subscriber count. Currently, we are now at 9,555 subscribers, so we are getting close to the 10,000 mark. So if you know anybody who likes plant shopping videos, or just wants to be part of a community where we can chat for about an hour during a live premiere chat, please share my videos, please share my channel. And if you are somebody that's watching my videos but haven't necessarily subscribed, please make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, and also the notification bell on, because although I try to premiere all of my videos around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time daily, sometimes life gets in the way and I'm not always able to schedule that premiere. I do try to get a premiere up every single day, but with the notification bell, you'll know when I upload a new post, a new poll, a new shorts video, which is what I've been doing as of late, and obviously our main event, which is our live premiere. But as you've seen here, I panned out a lot of these beautiful vinca flowers, and then right over here is a gorgeous looking sun patient. So it's a beautiful sun patient. Love that it has darker foliage, and for those that have been following my videos for the last 5 months, you already know I love dark foliage plants. I think they're stunning. They're very classy. And then also we've got a hanging basket of lantana right here. What I love about lantana is that lantana are actually very easy to care for plants. They can tolerate really hot conditions. And with Texas, as I'm doing this voiceover, I did a lot of plant shopping videos today. So you guys will actually be super surprised about what plants I found today at a local grocery store. So stay tuned for that video tomorrow. But it was really hot. It was in the 98 degrees, and considering we just had a really crazy storm, lots of flooding, it's just amazing how all of that dried up within 24 hours, and it's been super hot. So like flowers like lantana really do well in my grow zone, and that is 8B. So that's the thing, as we are looking at these plants like this firebush lime sizzler, I love this. Look at that yellow variegation, and it has green variegation as well. This one is not a bad price at all for $19.98. Really nice looking bush right here. I would actually consider putting that in my landscape. Now this one can take full sun as well. I'm just curious to see if it actually can tolerate, 100-degree weather. I often talk about my climate because I have been talking about a lot of these outdoor plants. Obviously, my heart is always going to be within the indoor tropical plant, but I share this passion where any type of plant will bring me joy, whether it's, bonsai, Japanese maples, outdoor landscaping, indoor tropical plants, bushes like this with beautiful coloration. I'm all for it. But plant foliage, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this firebush lime sizzler. Do you grow it? What would you do with that? What kind of color combinations would you do? So as I do all of my plant shopping videos, I will ask you guys questions, and hopefully you guys will engage not only in the live premiere chats, but also leave in the comments. And then this is some purslane plants right here. So what I learned about this plant is it actually is edible. It's considered a superfood. Again, do your research before you go eating a whole like hanging basket full of purslane, but that's what I was told. And you can check out right here. This is for $12.98, although right now those vinca hanging baskets are 2 for $20, so they're $10 each. And then I wanted to show you this. So this is a flower that I just recently saw this year. These are Celosa flowers. These are for only $1.98. This one actually takes full sun. What I like about it is the flowers look more like feathers or some type of texture, maybe even like a duster, I don't know, but it's a really cool looking texture for a flower. And then right over here, these are more sun patient. So impatiens are flowers that have to be grown in the shade, but these sun patients are basically impatiens, and these are only for $10.98 that you can grow in full sun. So that's the thing about certain plants and how, you know, botanists have really hybridized certain plants for a specific gene. So, you know, most plants may not be as tolerant, for instance, in, you know, full sun, but like sun patients are an example of how they've selectively bred a specific flower gene, and then it just kind of passed on. It's kind of like with coleus plants. I've talked about coleus plants, where most coleus plants need to be in shade, but now they have some coleus that can take full sun. So it is just exciting as more people have gotten into plants, as more people have grown to love plants. More interest means more plants are being currently developed. And this one right here is a canna lily. I thought it was a banana plant, but it is canna lily. And this one is a beautiful burgundy dark color here. What a gorgeous plant that is. And again, you know, dark foliage plants, I always have a soft spot for them. I just feel like there is a certain elegance about them. You know, if you can imagine planting a dark foliage plant, like maybe a raven zizi in just like a matte white planter, it just really brings out the plants. And I will talk about plant styling at some point. You know, I always talk about the things that I want to do. It's just a matter of getting that content out there. So just bear with me. I did spend a little bit of time today really potting up my plants, really taking some time to spray them down with my neem oil. I watered them, and you know, in the last couple of episodes of my videos, I did talk about how I've neglected some of my plants by just not watering them, you know, not really taking the time to take care of them. So I did that. I felt productive. I was able to get 3 hours worth of filming today as well. I happened to get this extra day off. So I would like to be able to schedule these plant premieres for you guys. And if you notice that I have been uploading really long, 3.5 hour long marathons, those are all scheduled for later June. So plant foldies, if you see that, what I would suggest is just hitting the notification bell on so it notifies you when it goes premiere. For those that don't know, I will be taking an 18-day vacation to my home country, which is the Philippines. So I will really not have enough time to really edit videos. I will definitely film many plant shopping videos, but I don't really want to take 5 hours each day to edit a video. And that's really the average time it takes to create a video, from filming it, from putting the plant subtitles, from doing the voiceover, from saving it, and then currently uploading it. So I do want to, you know, be prepared for that. And I want to make sure that I still give you guys daily content. It's a personal goal of mine. And that's the reason why I go to these big box stores. And while you might see the same plants and maybe I talk about the same plant characteristics, I'm just still amazed and thankful that you guys still show up for me day in and day out and engage with me on my plant content. I really appreciate that. And then what I also think about is just how this particular Lowe's has a way of really getting plants restocked. And if they don't get it restocked, at least a specific Lowe's has a way of merchandising their plants. I mean, every single Lowe's I've gone into, though, I've seen this little fixture with beautiful mandevilla flowers. I just love the white. I think that's my favorite color on mandevilla flowers. And how can you miss these beautiful containers of cordyline Hawaiian tea plant? I really like the look of that cordyline Hawaiian tea plant as well. I've noticed that it has some beautiful coloration as well. Now I've walked into this Lowe's right here. So typically Lowe's has like a little section at the very beginning of the entrance where they feature a bunch of Costa Farms plants and just large foliage plants. So we're gonna just take a look at what they have. You know, they still have their Memorial Weekend decoration. So I think those are kind of cute. But you can see right here, we've got some Phalaenopsis orchids from Costa Farms. We've got some anthuriums here, some blooming anthuriums from Costa Farms. These are just the traditional red blooming ones. I do like anthuriums, and this one is for $14.98. I like the anthuriums, not necessarily for the blooms, but more so for the leaves. I love that nice, shiny, triangular arrow leaf shape of the anthuriums, and they can get very large. They're pretty vigorous in growth as well. And then I've been getting into bromeliads, or at least admiring bromeliads. You know, when I first started doing plant shopping videos, I would always say, and this one's only for $10.98 in a terracotta planter. That's a plus for me. Love terracotta planters, but I would always say, what is the deal with bromeliads? I can see why there's a lot of bromeliads, because they do have some beautiful colors. I found that my bromeliad that I bought for $2.45 on clearance at a grocery store called Kroger, super easy to take care of. And that's the thing, plant foldies. You already know that I will always be at some type of big box store, some type of plant nursery, and I will always try to get you some of the plant pricing. Now, maybe the plant pricing might be a little bit different as compared to maybe other parts of the country, but at least if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you'll get the pricing that is currently in the market. But you can see here, beautiful sago palm, love that. And then I also love these Alocasia Regal Shields in self-watering planters, not from Costa Farms, but from Live Trends. So Live Trends has actually just really stepped up their game. They've really been doing a lot of self-watering planters. I do think self-watering planters are more beneficial for the average person that takes care of plants. For me specifically, self-watering planters are easy because then I don't have to worry so much about whether I need to water the plant or not. There is a wick that pulls up the water and feeds the soil. So that's a plus for it, especially for somebody like me who is an underwaterer. And what that means is I don't really water my plants as often as I should. There's another term where you're an overwaterer, where basically you just keep watering your plants more so than they need to, and you keep your soil wet. That keeps plants from getting. Some plants will end up getting root rot by being on overwater, but an underwater will also make the plant suffer health-wise, and that's when you get like plant pests like spider mites. But you can see here lots of beautiful large foliage plants. So we've got a white bird of paradise here. I would love to grow a white bird of paradise, but I don't really have tall ceilings for my home. Whenever I think of not dark foliage plants, but like large foliage plants, and this one is only for that price. That's not a bad price at all for a white bird of paradise. But I always think about like the space constraints I have and how the plants need to be more curated in the way they are styled versus just throwing a bunch of plants together. And then I was actually curious. I use this Miracle Grow Shake and Feed fertilizer that I mix in my soil. Does anybody else use that? Because I find that pretty effective in terms of just boosting the nutrients in your plant's soil. So let me know in the comments if you use that Miracle Grow Shake and Feed. I usually buy that at Costco. I feel like that's a better deal when I buy it at Costco. I pay less for that, but one thing I want to invest in is actually getting more Osmocote as well, because Osmocote has been a really good slow release fertilizer. And right over here, we've got some beautiful Monstera deliciosas. Love those as well. Those are for $24.97. And then you can see here, these are some Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf. Beautiful plant. I'm so surprised. And this is only for $24.98 by Costa Farms. There's several Ficus lyrata here, maybe 3 plants. But I'm so surprised that I've been able to grow my Ficus lyrata and it hasn't been so finicky. I just grow it under a grow light. It's right next to an east-facing window, and I water it every week and a half. I let the soil dry out completely, and then I bottom water it. And then you can see here some more Phalaenopsis orchids. Love the look of Phalaenopsis orchids. I always find their blooms to be many different types of faces. It's amazing how the intricacies of a Phalaenopsis orchid, there's just so many varieties. And now I'm going to be walking over to the lawn and garden area. So as you can see here, this Lowe's doesn't have like another outdoor greenhouse section for their indoor house plants. So we're just gonna walk by here. I'm actually just gonna pan over. I'm gonna go ahead and go on the outdoor section in just a bit, but I did want to pan over here and just show you what plants that they have. So they have a couple of shelves for some of the overage of plants, and you can see that they've got this area nice and organized. Really love this about this particular Lowe's. Often this Lowe's actually gets restocked, but I can tell that they may not necessarily be restocked with a lot of new plants. There might be a couple of new plants here, but as you can see, lots of large foliage plants. We've got a bunch of Ficus lyrata, bird of paradise. We've got some Dieffenbachia right here. and just other large foliage plants. So I really liked it a lot, and it's pretty organized. So let me know, plant foliage, what you think of this arrangement. For now, I'm gonna go walk outside though and just kind of see what else that they have. So I'm just gonna do a quick walk around here and show you guys some of the plants that they have in this outdoor section. The reason why I wanted to go in the outdoor section again is because it is getting dark and there's not gonna be as much light. So I wanted to capture what I could capture, and you can see this is just a full forest full of different types of fern, Boston fern. For some reason, you know, spring, late spring, early summer, we've just got a ton of ferns. Now, fern plants are not necessarily a plant that I gravitate to want to add into my collection. Some people might be into it. I'm not necessarily into it just because I feel like ferns need to be watered often. They need to keep their soil moist, and I just really am not the type of person to water my plants often. I probably should, because that is really the basic necessity of plant care. So I will definitely do better with that. I am proud of myself that I was able to do some plant chores, so we'll see what that looks like, because I am preparing to try and do a house plant tour of my plants. I do have quite a bit of plants. There's a lot of philodendron that I have not really shared on my YouTube channel that I would love to share with you guys. But as you can see here, really like the organization of Lowe's. They have all of these tables for each different type of plant, brand name. So we've got Southern Living, we've got, you know, Knockout Roses, Encore Azalea. So there's just a lot to pick from. And if you're gonna ask me, I love Encore Azaleas just because azaleas really hold a special place in my heart, because they are used for Japanese gardens, and I love Japanese gardens. That's something that I am trying to grow toward in my backyard. But you can see here, this is a full table of just knockout roses. So knockout roses are an easy to care for rose. It's actually more disease resistant, and they bloom a little bit more so than the typical rose. And then you got some hedge foundation type shrubs, and then we've got accent shrubs here. So these are accent shrubs that you can use for like your landscapes, just because they become more of like a focal point. And I did want to just highlight one of these shrubs. I have one of these. These are a Nandina, and this one has more of a neon color around it. I actually bought a Nandina from Lowe's, and it's taken about 2 years for it to really establish. What I like about Nandina is it has that neon color, but in the fall and winter, it becomes a nice red, fiery red bush, and I think that's so awesome. See, there are just rows and rows of Nandina, and then we also have some ground cover of juniper right over there. I like the color of that, neon colors, neon yellows, neon greens. Those are the kind of plants I like as well. And you can see that they just have many different types of trees, shrubs, and that's the thing about Lowe's. I will give Lowe's credit. I mean, Lowe's and Home Depot, they are kind of a tie. Home Depot typically has more proven winter plants. I don't ever see proven winter plants at Lowe's, but Lowe's sometimes will beat Home Depot in sense of they have a lot more Costa Farms plants. So it just really depends on what you're looking for. Now for outdoor plants, Home Depot and Lowe's are pretty much tied. They pretty much have the same plants available. And you can even see here, this Lowe's has some overage on a bunch of plants. So in this section right here, we've got a bunch of sun patience. So sun patience again, and these are for $10.97. I like this particular sun patient because look at the foliage, look at the colors of the leaf. It has like a light variegated middle. We've got green borders, red stems, and in a red vein. So these are for $10.98. I apologize about the incorrect pricing. And then it also has a red flower. So lots going on with this particular sun patient. Again, this is an impatient flower that can grow in full sun. Normally impatiens are the ones that only need to be in shade. So it's just super cool that they've been able to get a beautiful foliage plant out of that. So it's all that hybridizing and breeding by these botanists that come up with these new hybrids. So it's always exciting. I would say that petunias specifically have a lot of different hybrids that have come out in the market. And you can see these are a bunch of these clearance plants. So we've got a potato vine right over here. I like how this particular potato vine has like green new growth, but then it just bronzes up. I always like that new coloration when it comes down to a new leaf that unfurls. But there's not really a lot to look at on all those clearance plants. I always call clearance plants rescue me plants. But, you know, whenever you buy a clearance plant from a big box store, just know that that plant probably has a lot of rehabbing you have to do. Just know that it's probably going to harbor some plant pests, so you've really got to put a lot of effort into clearance plants. You know, sometimes I balance out whether it's really worth to take a clearance plant because of all of the risk of you know, plant pests and just the amount of effort you need to do. But then on the other side, I also believe that we should rescue clearance plants because they just didn't have a chance to find a home. So I'm really debating about that. Now, plant foldies, do you find that, you know, would you buy a clearance plant or do you steer away from clearance plants? Leave that in the comments. I really do want to hear from what you guys have to say. As I walk around this Lowe's, it's, you know, starting to get a little bit dark. It's about 8:45 as I'm filming this, and it's starting to get dark, but there's still enough light to where I can showcase some of these plants. One of my favorite plants to always show in my videos, and that is a variegated bougainvillea. This is for $26.98, and these are specifically plants that are grown for Texas landscapes, Texas climates. Now with the variegated bougainvillea, this is a raspberry ice. This one unfortunately cannot be put into the landscape to grow long term. You would really need to grow this in a container. That way you can take it indoors to overwinterize. Otherwise, it will not last. I've tried to grow bougainvillea in the ground, but we just get really cold winters and really intense frost freezes, so that way it's just not a plant that I would consider a perennial in my grow zone, which is 8B. But as you can see right over here, we've got some more like mixed container plants. I do love the look of this. So these are New Guinea impatiens, and what I like about this New Guinea impatient is look at the dark foliage again. It's got a shiny satin finish. This one is for $19.98. So what you need to do is, if you're going to buy this mixed planter, you just have to repot it in another planter that's slightly bigger, maybe an inch or two larger in diameter, and you've got a container plant that can be grown. If it's a New Guinea impatient, this one would need to be in more of a shaded area. Love that dark foliage. Plant foliage, let me know if you like dark plants, purple plants, black plants. I am just obsessed with them. Like even like a really dark philodendron pink princess is something that I like to look at. And obviously just dark plants, just there's something about them. But anyhow, I am going to go walk over here and check out these assorted succulents and cacti. Now for the ones that have been watching my videos, I have really attempted to show you more succulents and cactus. Now this may not be for everybody. I know plant foliage, not all of you guys like succulents and cacti, but I wanted to just show these for the ones that actually appreciate it. I'm thinking about getting more succulents in my plant collection. Obviously Aeoniums, I ended up killing my Aeonium kiwi that I bought from Lowe's, but that's really because I put it in direct sun and also watered it from the top. So I don't know if it just burned it or what happened, but I'll know better next time to, number one, like not put succulents in full sun. I just thought that, you know, all succulents are kind of desertish in, you know, desert environments. That is not necessarily the case. So, you know, I learned from that. And that's the thing about plants and just plant keeping. It's all about your experiences and what you learn from it. Here are some coral bells. This one's a coral bell mulberry. Beautiful. Coral bell, dark foliage. Love that gray tone. It just really looks like a gothic plant. These ones are by Monrova. So Monrova has some really nice selections of plants. I would say Monrova plants are slightly pricey, but they are pretty healthy and just nice varieties that they offer at big box stores. You can see right here, this is a beautiful Triscanthia. I really like this one, just the white striping. This is an easy plant to also propagate. Literally, you can take a small cutting of that, stick it in water, and it will root. I have been able to propagate those before. Here are some more coral bells. These are coral bells electric lime by Monrova. Again, look at how beautiful that neon green yellow coloration is, and then this one is for $11.98. So with coral bells do better in more of like shaded areas. Now I don't know about these Monrova coral bells. They might be able to take full sun, but these typically are plants that you want to grow in more of a shaded area. That neon electric lime would be a perfect one to just light up a darker space. And then this one is a Coral Bells Carnival Rose. Look at that, and look at how it is blooming. Beautiful coral bell. I wish I could grow coral bells indoors, but I have just done a lot of research, and it's really a plant that is meant to really grow outdoors. It would definitely get spider mites very quickly unless you are just literally spraying it down. But you know, I always think about plants, like plants, again, you know, plant keeping should always be one that brings you joy, not brings you extra chores. Like obviously there's plant care that is involved with, you know, taking care of plants, but actually spending way too much time just trying to prevent plants and trying to keep them healthy indoors is not always the best case. And so, you know, if you take a plant like this is Coral Bell's Georgia Peach, beautiful looking plant. Like, I would love to be able to grow these indoors successfully, but you know, after doing research, I don't really want to put myself through having to keep up with that. Now, as far as some of my plant shopping videos, I have been experimenting on potential plants, specifically ground cover, that I would consider taking indoors to grow in as a house plant. Like, some people have actually taken potato vines like this. Look at this beautiful neon one in a hanging basket. Have been able to grow these indoors, but the thing is with potato vines, when I've grown them indoors, they end up getting spider mites. They do need full sun to really do well. So like, I would just think in terms of a you know, growing a potato vine, you would either need to put it next to a south-facing window or a west-facing window in order for it to really get a lot of that sun and that light. So it's just interesting how certain plants really require a little bit more care when brought indoors. Now, this Waikiki Sunset Lysimachia, I think I've actually thought about maybe growing this in a container and possibly growing these indoors. These are by Proven Winners for $6.98. What I like about this is it does have some really cool green on green, green on yellow variegation. And as a bonus, it actually has yellow flowers. I would just have to really do my research to see if I would, you know, grow this. Obviously, all of these ground cover plants are going to be more of like these trailing plants that I would grow indoors. So that's the thing, plant foldies. I have been really thinking about growing a bunch of these ground cover plants indoors. I really want to try to grow plants that are a little bit more unconventional indoors versus like getting the typical like pothos plant, fiddle fig leaf, sansevieria, aglaonema, syngoniums, monsteras. Like, I'm trying to steer away a little bit from that and trying to bring in some other plants that might be of interest. So, you know, stay tuned for that. Obviously, for those that continue to watch my plant shopping videos daily, super appreciate that. Know that I'm going to get you guys some more content daily. I'm trying my best. You know, I am always trying to like film some plants. And again, while I do show you guys a lot of the plants, the same plants on a daily basis, I just feel like it's a nice little social gathering we have during the live premiere. So really appreciate that. And then over here, potato vines. This one's for $4.98. Love that dark foliage plant here. And what's interesting is with these potato vines, you can eat the foliage. Now, these are more on the ornamental side, but you can eat those. Use caution and do research first, just to make sure that they are not poisonous or toxic. But I've seen and heard people eat that. And then also, these are probably my favorite potato vine. These are the variegated potato vines. I really love the look of this if I can just get it out. Notice how it's starting to trail. This one is also for $4.98. What I like about it is, look at that pink variegation, that cream variegation, and then also just the light green. Beautiful plant. And for a variegated plant, this one needs full sun. So I love the fact that it will not burn. I love the fact that it's got pink. So there's just a lot of characteristics for this particular plant that makes it desirable for me. I actually bought one of these and I am currently growing it outdoors in a container out in full sun, and it is growing rapidly, and I really like that. I plan on taking cuttings and propagating more because potato vine plants easily root in water. And you can see here we've got more plants. It's starting to get a little bit dark, so some of the lighting may not be the best, but hopefully, plant foliage, you are still seeing the beauty of these plants. One plant that I absolutely love, and these are the Rodeo oyster plants. What I love about it is, look at that pink coloration, the purple undersides. These are for $4.98. Sometimes I will see this actually being sold as an indoor plant at you know, a big box store, but these are in the outdoor section. So it's just interesting how certain plants are considered like indoor or outdoor plants. I would say this is more of an outdoor plant that can be grown indoors. I have two of these now. I've bought you know, these pink plants. I love pink plants, and this Rodeo oyster plant has done very well for me. I've actually been growing it out in full sun, and it's been getting some amazing pink coloration. So I'm not sure if you get more pink by giving it more light, but you can see these are plants that, you know, may be considered more of like a ground cover, more of like an outdoor plant, but people have been successfully able to grow these indoors. Now with this plant, it's probably easier to grow that outdoors, and I just love the color that it provides. And then obviously look at all of this dark foliage that we have here, these beautiful potato vines. I love how it's got that bronze chocolate look, purple look, and over here as I pan over, more ground cover. And then we have some more coral bells right here. I haven't really grown coral bells. I've grown them in the past, but in terms of just growing them this year, I don't think I'm going to be growing any coral bells. I do like how this has like a very nice look when the light hits it. It's got this like fiery red tone about it. And you know, with coral bells, I just really wish we could grow those indoors successfully. Maybe some of you guys have tried it. I am not going to try it because I've already killed a lot of plants this year. And then we've got some trade Scanthia zebrinas right over here. These are for $4.98. Yep, that is for $4.98. So these are considered ground cover as well, but people grow them as indoor plants. The only problem I have with this specific trade Scanthia is it gets very leggy very quickly. So again, you want to make sure that you are cutting it back. That way it will stay a little bit more full. It actually promotes more growth when you cut it back. So lots of trade Scanthia here, lots of trade Scanthia zebrina. So plant folies, let me know if you actually grow them. And then we've got some golden dewdrops or some Duranta plants. Look at that neon variegation as well. Makes another ground cover. This is for $4.98. And I would just be curious to see if anybody's really attempting to grow these plants indoors. Again, all plants that are outdoors can be grown indoors. It just depends on the amount of light you give it, and also just the care for it. And as you can see right over here, these are some flax lilies. So I love the look of flax lilies just because they are number one for only $19.98. That's not a bad price at all. And then it just has some beautiful cream and white variegation. I am a sucker for, you know, the cream and white variegation. And then I'm also a sucker for any dark foliage plants and pink plants. So one of my favorite plants to grow, this is a variegated boat lily for $8.98. I bought one of these. Mine is doing extremely well. Mine actually had a shoot that broke off, but I took several cuttings and I am currently rooting them in water. So hopefully I can get another variegated boat lily. Now with variegated boat lily, I am actually growing that in full sun. And since I am growing them in full sun, I'm getting more pink versus just the purple tone for it. So purple plants, dark plants, they are the best. And then over here, we've got some variegated ginger. So I love the look of variegated ginger. Unfortunately, I'm not able to really grow that indoors. That's another plant I've attempted in the past, and it just ends up getting spider mites. Same thing with cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. I love it. You see it everywhere, but that is a plant that will also get spider mites when grown indoors, or at least it's more susceptible. Now, some people might actually get away with, you know, growing plants that are a little bit more challenging. These Japanese Aralia are also able to be grown indoors. I have yet to try to grow one of those. I do have the camouflage one, and it is absolutely stunning. But as you can see here, plant foliage, we got a lot of these hanging baskets of spider plants. Now these spider plants have little babies and it's actually in bloom. So I just like how it has shoots. So there are obviously different varieties of spider plants. I know some of you plant folies have asked me to show you some more spider plants. So here we go. And it's cool that it has a lot of these little babies coming out. And then this fern, this is a Japanese holly fern. And I like the look of this as well. This one is for $6.98. So we've got a lot of different types of fern. Now, all of these fern, I would say, would be able to be grown indoors as well. Same thing with those caladiums that I just panned over, but all of these cordyline plants, like look at that. Look at how dark that foliage is. It looks super cool, but we've got a bunch of caladiums. So it is caladium season. You know, caladiums start to really come out late spring, summer. They like the heat. They like higher humidity. They are native to Brazil, and they just have so many different varieties. Like, take a look at this. This is for $7.98. Like, you can purchase this and repot it in a planter and have a caladium. The thing about caladiums is if you're going to grow them, just know that in the winter time, or when it starts to get cold and the days get shorter, these caladiums will go dormant. I have yet to really hear about anybody that's been able to keep a caladium active. They are similar to alocasia. I always look at caladiums as a more colorful alocasia. And that's just another plant that I like. I like it specifically because it gives me that pink foliage. I love that red. I love that, that ghostly white tone. So that's the reason why caladiums are a plus for me. Love them so much, and they're easy to get a hold of. Most big box stores, local nurseries will have them. Like here's another one for $7.98. This is more of the strap leaf caladium. So this caladium has more like a narrow leaf shape. I really like the look of that as well. And it is getting pretty dark out here, but notice how the light foliage still illuminates. And I already know that I'm going to end up getting another Tradescanthia Nanook. Look at this restock of beautiful Tradescanthia Nanook. I love this Tradescanthia because it's got dark, it's got that pink foliage. This is for $4.98, but it's just a beautiful plant. It has beautiful purple undertones, and the growth is a little bit more compact. I feel like it doesn't get as leggy as quickly as like a Tradescanthia Sabrina. I love the fact that the leaves are a little bit longer or just larger. And so I'm going to pick one that's a little bit more full. And the cool thing about this Tradescanthia is if you cut it back, it will get even more compact and bushy. And this is a plant. I have two of them. I'll get a third one. I will have to trim back another one, but I have been growing them out in full sun and it has been doing amazing. So beautiful plant. This plant used to be quite expensive about 3 to 4 years ago, and now it is readily available. It is almost sold as just a ground cover, but it is a plant that if you like pink plants, and I think I'm going to take this one because look at how many shoots it has. Look at how beautiful the undertones of the leaves are. It is only for $4.98, but it is another plant that I would love to just grow in my collection. I am a huge fan of pink plants, pink variegation, purple plants, just that nice striping. It's just amazing. So plant folies, let me know if you like Tradescanthia Nanook. These are very easy to propagate and share. They are a vigorous grower. So there's just a lot of characteristics about this plant that makes me want to just continue to buy them. I really should just propagate them and get more free plants, but $4.98 is not that bad. I have been spending quite a bit of money on some of the plants. So as you can see, it's because I'm always at a big box store. Like I literally filmed 2 videos today, one at Walmart in the morning, and then obviously this one in the evening. But as you can see, I love Coleus plants. These ones are for $4.98. And now we're just going to walk back inside because it got a little too dark for me to really continue filming. So, I will be finishing off this plant shopping video at Lowe's here. But as you can see, it is around 9 now, a little bit past 9. And I'm just going to go see what plants that they have here. So Live Trends always has these cute little planters. Now these ones are like fruit ones. You can see we've got some air plants right over here. I don't have any type of air plant in my houseplant collection. It is one that I might consider getting, but I don't really see the allure for air plants. I always feel like they're just artificial plants, but you know what? There might be something that I am just missing in terms of that. And that's the thing, plant foldies. I don't know if you ever find yourself just more gravitating to a specific plant. For me, and I've said this in a lot of my videos, there's just certain characteristics. And like one characteristic would be plants that have a lot of beautiful coloration on the foliage, a plant that can tolerate lower light conditions if possible, a plant that can tolerate being underwater, doesn't need as much water, and a plant that can grow pretty fast and propagate easily. Those 5 characteristics, if a plant has at least 3 of the 5, I will consider buying it and adding it into my collection. So plant folies, let me know what characteristics you look for whenever you're growing plants. I know that whenever I go to Lowe's as well, I always like to look at the hanging baskets, and I'm always in admiration of all of the Phalaenopsis orchids that they have. Lowe's probably has some of the more diverse orchids that you will find. It only rivals Trader Joe's. I feel like Trader Joe's has some really nice orchids, and they have different species of orchids. But over here, we are seeing a bunch of these Phalaenopsis orchids, very common orchid. I was starting to see some variegated orchids popping up, but as we look at this plant shopping video, there are some interesting hanging baskets like this black rabbit's foot fern. Look at that. That's why you get that name, black rabbit's foot fern. Do you see those roots right over there? That is awesome. And this is for $20.84. A hanging basket by Costa Farms. exotic angels. Love this as well. I've actually thought about getting a black rabbit's foot fern. If I were to buy or add a fern in my collection, I think that a black rabbit's foot fern would be one of the best candidates to add into my collection, or a bird's nest fern. So you can see right there though, what an interesting texture. It does kind of look like tarantula legs though. And then over here, wow, this is a silver band marantha. Super cool, considering this plant used to be very uncommon. Now we've got a full lush hanging basket of silver band marantha. Gotta give Costa Farms props. They are able to really get some nice uncommon or even rare plants available into the regular market. You know, I've talked about, you know, uncommon plants or plants that are a little bit harder to find. I will say that Costa Farms has really made an attempt to make them more accessible for just the average plant collector. And I like that, you know, it does drive the prices down a little bit for some of the plant businesses. But in terms of just bringing people joy and happiness, I think it's a great thing that we can even find a silver band marantha in a full hanging basket. What a beautiful hanging basket. And, you know, if I'm going to be nitpicky, there is a little bit of cosmetic damage, you know, some browning on some of the leaves. But what you can do is actually just cut off those brown parts. But what a beautiful marantha. I actually got one at Callaway's for $2.99 that I'm going to actually grow in hydroponics. Like, I am now going to just grow my prayer plants, my calatheas, my maranthas, my stromanthe in more of a hydroponic situation, and that means I'm just growing them straight water versus putting them in like a soil substrate. And then this is another trade scanthia. I always see at a big box store. I do find it beautiful. I like the texture of the leaves. It's got a velvety tone about it. And we've got some more of these urban jungle planters here. So sometimes I'll find some really cool urban jungle plants. I do like the look of this particular urban jungle plant. This is a beautiful pink syngonium. This one is for $14.98. And the thing about these urban jungle planters, I like to look at them because I have found some really unique alocasias. Sometimes you'll find some other plants like this, you know, syngonium. It's a common one. It's a common pink one. Love syngoniums. It's one of my favorite plants to grow. The only thing I will say about syngoniums is make sure you are keeping up with the watering, because if you do underwater them, they don't do as well. They're not as tolerant as I thought they would be. Here is a plant that is a little bit more tolerant of being underwatered, and this is a Philodendron Hederaceum lemon lime. Love that yellow neon green foliage. The more light you give it, the better it's going to give you that more yellow tone to it. And then we've got some dracaenas over there. What else do we have here? So we have another beautiful urban jungle plant. This one is a Ficus elastica ruby. Beautiful plant. Now, in order for ruby to really get some better like red tone or red look about it, you want to provide this with a lot of light. I actually grow my Ficus elastica in full sun in a south facing section outside, and they do not burn. So they're doing very well for me. They are more vigorous when you grow them outside. And then as I pan away over here, you can see we've got some more trade scanthias. We've got a bird's nest fern. We've got some hanging baskets. And then we also have a bunch of starter exotic angels, trending tropical plants or exotic angel plants. Now here we have a croton bush on fire. Love this croton. Notice how it's got that red leaf, yellow leaf, orange leaf. This one is for $5.98. I have been tempted to buy several exotic angel starter plants. I unfortunately ended up killing my China doll exotic angel plant that I bought at HEB. I did buy it for $3.98 or something like that, so it wasn't that big of a loss. I was just disappointed, but again, I learned that, you know, that China doll plant actually needs to be watered a little bit more frequently. Here is a Belus ficus. So this is another type of ground cover plant that is being grown indoors. I do like the variegated for portion of this. I've seen just the green version of this ficus. Now with all ficus, you do need to provide it with a lot of bright indirect light for it to really do well. And then what else do we have here? So we've got a Balfouriana Aralia, or a variegated Aralia. Really like the look of this, and as it matures, it actually gets a trunk that's a little bit more woody. I do like that the white variegation is pretty stable as well. It is a plant that is more readily common than you would think, and it's another plant I like. Aralias, they're pretty easy to take care of. And then here is a Hydra helix. or a Hedera Helix English Ivy. This is the asterisk one. Notice how the leaf shape looks like an asterisk. It is a plant that I've never really seen until I started shopping at Lowe's. I love English Ivy. I ended up buying a new English Ivy that I will show you in a future video. So we'll see if I can keep it alive, or else I would have killed 15 English Ivy in the last 2 years. So we'll see. But anyways, here is a Pilea Pan Am. Love the dark foliage in this Pilea Pan Am. Now, you know, with any Pileas, they need to be watered a little bit more frequently. You want to keep the soil a little bit more damp and wet. And as I pan over here, just a bunch of other exotic angel starter plants. We've got a bunch of pothos, and then we've got hanging baskets right over here. This is a plant that I don't know the scientific or botany name. This one is a purple pleasure plant. It looks very velvety. At one point I thought it had spider mites, but it's just got very velvety texture on the leaves. It looks almost like an oak ivy. So for those that know what this the botany name is for this purple pleasure plant, let me know. And then also let me know what the care tips are. This is for $20.84 in a hanging basket. It looks like a plant that would be easily propagated, that you can easily propagate with just cuttings that you put in water. And then we've got a Chiflera moon drop here. I love this as well. This is another Chiflera though that stays a little bit more dwarf and compact. I've got another Chiflera that is a variegated that I'm actually growing, to my surprise, in full sun outdoors, and it is not burning, so it's actually doing very well. I do like the Chiflera moon drop, since I want some of a more of a smaller compact plant to grow indoors. And then we can see right over here, what else do we have? We got another Hedera Helix, or the Hedera Helix Bettina. I have this last one right here, this Hedera Helix Bettina, beautiful looking one. I like the texture of the leaves. I like how the leaves are a little bit wider, and it's got some really nice variegation as well. And then I'm going to pan over here and just show you a couple of more plants. So these are Urban Jungle and Live Trend plants. Here is another Urban Jungle Silver Band Marantha. This one is for $14.98. So as you can see, Silver Band Marantha is becoming a little bit more available at big box stores. I like that a lot, and that's the thing. Whenever you see plants that used to be like uncommon or super expensive at a big box store, it's always exciting to see that if you just wait a little bit longer, like a year or two, plant pricing will go down. Now this is just a classic coffee plant. I want to actually get a coffee plant. I love the leaves. I've loved that how it has like a natural shine to it. And then we've got some type of alocasia here. I'm not sure what particular alocasia this is. So if you are an alocasia fan or an expert, please leave me the alocasia plant ID. I do like how it's got more of a minty gray green tone about it, and I also like the veining of the leaves. I love the texture of it. It's got a very waxy feel about this alocasia. And again, with alocasias, they need higher humidity, they need to be in bright light, and they are susceptible to spider mites. So just make sure you are spraying your plants with some preventative neem oil. The pan over here, beautiful Dieffenbachia here. I love Dieffenbachia. I just don't grow them because I know that my lighting conditions are not the best for a Dieffenbachia, but that is an absolutely stunning plant. Really like the look of Dieffenbachia, and then as well as this fiddle fig leaf or Ficus lyrata here. Beautiful one by Costa Farms. These are readily available, and again, you have to also plan for the space for Ficus lyrata, because eventually that plant can eventually get up to 20 feet tall. It can become a full-blown indoor tree. And then you can see here we've got some Osmocote. I need to get some Osmocote for my plants. Really good fertilizer. And then we've got another Calathea rospicta here for $14.97 or $15.97 in a self-watering planter. We've got a bunch of Dracaenas. Love that Dracaena, actually. I would love to add that Dracaena, even though it's a common one. I just don't really have the space for it. It is a low light tolerant plant. And then we've got an Epipremnum plesamum silver streak pothos, beautiful plant as well. And I was told by a plant foldy that this one can actually get bushy as compared to needing to climb. So I really like that fact about it. It is a plant that I would like to add to my collection. This one is for $19.98 at Trending Tropicals Costa Farms plant. And then we have another Costa Farms Trending Tropical plant. This is a Calathea dotty. Love that dark foliage. Love the dark purple tone about it. and it's just gorgeous. And then right over here, we've got some more trending tropical plants. We've got some more Costa Farm plants. So one Costa Farm plant I did want to take a look at is this Paulownia watermelon. So plant foldies, let me know what you think. This one is for $16.98. I was almost tempted to buy it. This looks like a plant that would be easily that you could easily propagate from cuttings as well. Does anybody know what this plant is in terms of just like the care tips? I do love the look of it. It looks like an unconventional house plant, and that's the thing, plant foldies. I have been doing a lot of these plant shopping videos to show you more plants that are not typically sought after to be grown indoors, but this is a plant that I was really tempted to buy. And then this is another, I think this is a dragon's breath plant. I don't know the plant ID, the botany name for it, but it does have some beautiful purple undersides. And that's the thing about some of the plants I've shown you. I love plants that have multi-colors, where it has like one leaf color on the top of the leaf, and then the bottom leaf has that. Typically, calatheas have that characteristic, and that's what makes them beautiful. And then over here, we've got some beautiful purple passion pleasure plant. Sorry, purple pleasure plant. Again, here is another hanging basket. Apparently it's a collector's plant, so it might be an uncommon plant. Not really sure about the plant botany name. So for those that know about this plant, leave that in the comments. Let me know what the care tips are, if it is a rare or uncommon plant. And then this is just stunning here. And I remember running into an Alocasia Reginaea. I think Reginae, I think that's how you pronounce it. Look at how beautiful that leaf shape is. That silver is absolutely stunning. Now, the purple undersides as well, and the veining and texture. So lots going on with this particular Alocasia. I love it. It's a plant that I need in my plant collection. It's another Alocasia that I may end up buying, and this Lowe's actually has several of them. Now, these are all in trending tropical self-watering planters from Costa Farms. This would be the one I would pick to buy if I was going to buy one today. Now, this Alocasia tends to be a little bit more thirsty than the typical Alocasia, so you really don't want the soil to dry out completely, and that's the thing, guys. Plant foldies, I already know my watering habits, and I just know that I wouldn't be able to grow that plant long-term successfully because of it. And then over here, Genicrae compacta, Dracaena, very easy plant. That one doesn't need to be watered as often. But as I pan around here and show you all of these Alocasia Reginae, I think that's how you pronounce it. Let me know if you like that particular Alocasia. I think it is absolutely stunning. It does need bright light, but look at this one right here. I love the leaf shape. You know, there's a lot of Alocasias that are coming out to the market, specifically variegated Alocasia. But for me, I am more so interested in just even the regular varieties that are not variegated. I say that until I get a hold of a variegated Alocasia. That would be so cool. I only have one variegated Alocasia, and that is a variegated Alocasia odora, and it's doing okay. I ended up repotting it. It's growing outside because I feel like if I'm struggling with a particular plant growing that indoors, if I grow it outdoors in a shaded area, it does way better, as in there's no pest on it. It grows faster. I can easily water it because I can just take a hose versus just growing plants indoors. But you can see that this is not a grow fold video unless I show you an Aglaonema red Siam. Just like me showing you coleus plants, I love Aglaonemas. I love Aglaonema red Siam. It is a basic plant for most people, but it is a plant that is easy to take care of. But check those Alocasias out here. This is so beautiful. I love it so much. So plant foldies, let me know what you think of this Lowe's location here. It is one that I often feature in a lot of my plant shopping videos. Just know that I will be premiering a lot of plant compilation marathons. So if you see a lot of videos that are scheduled to premiere in late June, that's just me preparing to have some content available for y'all. For those that did tune in for the 3.5-hour plant party on Monday, that was super exciting. And I really hope that you guys will be open to watching those video compilations when I go on vacation to the Philippines. I have some exciting new plant shopping videos. As always, plant foldies, Please make sure you are hitting that like button for this video. I know I've mentioned it several times, but it really does help my plant shopping videos out, as well as commenting after a live premiere or after you've watched this video. You can actually comment all over the video and put timestamps on it. But I am just finishing up a couple of more of these plants. I do love this Pia tree plant. Was able to get one from Green Acres, a local plant nursery, the variegated form, for only $30, and it is a lot larger than this one. This one is for $5.97. Beautiful one as well. It's a cross between a Hydra Helix and another Fatsidera. So really cool. And then this one right here is an Especia. Really like this as well. I actually want to get the neon green version of this Especia. Apparently it's similar to an African violet. I love the pink blooms. So I always found it interesting that, you know, Costa Farms Exotic Angels offers this plant. Typically you don't see flowering plants being offered as an indoor house plant, but this is one that's available for $20.98. So again, hanging basket, all of these plants, you can find them at Lowe's. And I always find it interesting that, Lowe's cycles out specific plants. I've been seeing a lot of marble queen pothos and snow queen pothos, so that might be what's in the cycle as well. But as you can see here, plant folies, more exotic angel plants. I want to know what your favorite exotic angel plant is to grow from Costa Farms. But as you can see here, there's not quite a bit of restocks. I feel like some of these exotic angel plants have been sitting in this Lowe's for a while. Some of them already started to decline in health, but you can see that this is still a pretty full Lowe's location, and I love it. It's really close to where I am. So please make sure you are hitting that like button for me. Really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. I'll have another one tomorrow, which is going to be super exciting. As always, this is Richie at Grow Folds. Please subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.